Can we talk about the game day fit?
What do you mean? What you wear? I wore two things specifically. I like it.
Yeah, baby. That's the Josh McDaniels visors. Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we're on the quest to find the greatest game of all time. On today's episode, we are covering the infamous 2014 AFC Divisional round game between the Patriots and the Ravens, aka the double pass game. We've already done it. This will be our second time doing it. With who? Josh McDaniels, the guy behind the formations and the double pass, six-time Super Bowl champion, former head coach, our first head coach. And we're talking what it takes for young QBs to succeed in the National Football League.
Always talk about it. They have a bucket. You guys all had a bucket, and yours was a big bucket at the end. Like you could handle whatever we gave you. Well, when you take a young quarterback, it's more like a cup.
Calling plays in two of the greatest comebacks of all time. When I'm going over emotion, what's going through your mind?
It's not man. And then when I saw the guy start to creep in and he was going to blitz, I'm like, we couldn't have drawn up like them playing a better defense for the play.
And what the hell is in that water at John Carroll University for all these goddamn coaches? Back at John Carroll, did Crazier come in and he...
When Shaplinsky and I got there, Crazier was a redshirt freshman.
Redshirt freshman.
He's like the only guy in the history of Division III football that redshirted.
And we wrap it up by creating our swaggiest coaching fit of all time. Can't wait to read about this in the comment section. You got to stick around to the very end. Let's go. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. January 10th, 2015, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Jules, you need any lead up if we call the double pass?
Nope. Guess it's just time to dust off the old throne on.
This is the double pass game.
Josh version.
You guys are funny. Oh, man. You know who I played pickleball with last night?
Who?
Gronk's brother.
Which one?
The Gordy?
Gordy, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty good?
Dude, he is like, it was hysterical. Well, first of all, he looks like an Olympic volleyball player.
Oh, yeah.
He's tall as shit. And I was like, all right, I don't know if this guy's like, he had touch.
The Gronkowski.
Length.
Yeah.
Like, they pickled us one game, and then we came back and beat him on the next one. But I was like, damn, this
Robbie
guy's pretty
G's
good.
really good.
Is he?
Yeah.
I could see him being good.
Rob's good at, like, a lot of things. It's crazy.
Remember how good he was at basketball, and I never knew he
won
was.
it.
I was like, I wouldn't have imagined he would. I could imagine him dunking and, like, ripping the hoop down.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine that he was as good of a shooter as he was.
He won the shot contest.
I know he
We've
did.
talked about it on here.
Team of teams.
Know who was actually really good, too, at basketball? Logan Mankins at All-State in California.
Really? That's awesome.
Logan Mankins. I heard that.
He had to play like a center or something.
Probably,
Rugged.
but I bet you he was super, because he had big hands. He probably had good touch, too.
I played against Orlando Pace in high school.
Yeah.
Dude never went inside the three-point line.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I'm like, I was looking at him going, dude, go down on the block. You're like Shaq.
Yeah.
And he would just stand outside and shoot threes.
Who else? You played with... Welcome to Games with Names. Let's get into this real quick. Welcome to Games with Names. Today we are looking at the 2014 AFC Divisional round game, the double pass. The Ravens versus the Patriots. Here with Josh McDaniels, the guy who gave me my opportunity. You know, I'm having Billy O later on this week. He was the guy that held me back. Josh McD was the guy who gave me the opportunity in the same offense to thrive to what I was at. But the first question we ask all our guests, in one sentence, why did you pick this game?
I think this was, well, one, I'd say it had to do, you were significantly involved in it, obviously, but I think this is my favorite home game that I ever was a part of. We had some really good Super Bowls and those kind of memories.
Yeah.
The AFC Championship game in Kansas City sticks out to me.
Yeah.
I had another one when I was younger against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, but I would say for home games, like the quality of the opponent, the way the game had to go, the way that it turned out, I think this was probably my favorite home game that I was ever a part of.
Wow. Is this the greatest game of all time?
no, this is not the greatest game of all time. It's in the top. It's certainly in the top 5 or 6 for me in terms of Patriots games that I was a part of. No question about it.
What's life looking like right now? What are you doing these days?
Different.
Yeah.
Different in a good way. 2 kids in college. And then still 2 girls now at home.
Yeah.
I've been able to see them more. My sons get ready to play a sophomore year at John Carroll football. He's playing in the slot receiver.
There we go.
So got to work with him some in the summer. I'll be able to see him play. I've seen him practice now multiple times, which is great. A lot of pickleball. I'm probably as healthy as I've been in 20 years.
Is that's what's keeping the weight down? You look thin.
Thank you.
Looking good.
Trying
got a little fluff
trying
in
to
the
get
hair,
my fighting
gray,
weight. Trying to get the fighting weight. Yeah, like I am.
It's looking
I am.
good.
Well, I was getting a little fluff the other way.
People don't realize the coach's life. The coach's life is like
Stressful.
the most stressful thing ever. If you look at it's like Obama when he first went into office, and you see when he left office, he looked like he almost died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what a coach goes through yearly. Like literally, they eat the worst shit ever. They have their schedules jam packed, especially with how Belichick was working these guys. And they just sit and they watch film and eat fucking food all day long. They try to get a workout in, but they preach it, but they don't always get it in. But it's a tough life, and the stress is crazy. Now you talked about John Carroll. How come? What's up with John Carroll? We had a lot of John Carroll guys. Can you explain that area and what that program and especially Ohio, where you were from? A lot of these guys are from Ohio.
I think look, Ohio's in the Midwest, and there's not as much to do. You're not on one of the coasts, and so the game of football in Ohio is like the thing.
Yeah.
And so when you're growing up in Ohio, all the high school teams, the Hall of Fame game comes there once a year. That's a huge week and a huge part of the culture there. Everybody goes to the enshrinement. So football is kind of like in the blood. And then to go to school there, I went with a lot of kids from Ohio, some from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Chicago. But, I think we all kind of were there for the same reason. In Division III, you're not there to make it to the NFL. You're not there to make a bunch of money. You're not, you're not there on a free ride. You're paying to go to school, and you want to have as many years left that you can to play football.
Yeah.
And so you meet a lot of cool dudes that are there for the right reasons. And so when that happened, when Bill gave me an opportunity, and then the next question, 6 months later was like, hey, do you know anybody else that kind of would be like you in terms of being accountable, work hard, smart, could learn? And it was like, yeah, I know Nick. So then I suggested
Caserio.
Nick, Caserio. And then eventually we suggested, Ziegler and Shaplinsky and Kaylee. And it was kind of like almost like this unspoken thing, like, don't break the freaking chain.
Yeah.
Like, don't be the guy that lets all of us down. You know what I mean? And when you're given a recommendation, you're thinking long and hard about who that guy is, and so we kind of all put our name on somebody. Brian Dable did it for me. Dave's wasn't from John Carroll, but we were together, and that's how I ended up there. And then we kind of all suggested somebody when Bill came to us and said, hey, is there another guy that you know? And I think everybody just, deserves their own credit for upholding their end of the bargain.
Yeah. Now, what are these stories, back at John Carroll? What was I heard, did Caserio come in and he...
So Caserio was, when I got there, when Shaplinsky and I got there, and Caserio was a redshirt freshman.
Redshirt freshman.
He's like the only guy in the history of Division III football that redshirted. like literally, like he was so intent on like playing and like having all these records and breaking all this. And it was like I get there and I'm like, and I said, well, what grade is Nick in? And they're like, he's a redshirt freshman. I'm like, he's not just a sophomore, like you know what I mean? Like I wanted him to be like ahead of me. So like if we ended up, all right, he's gone, then however that goes. But he redshirted, so he still had multiple years left to play. And when I was a freshman, it ended up being a fifth-year senior was the starter, Nick was the backup, and I was the third string. Well, the fifth-year senior, who happens to be the head coach at John Carroll now, Jeff Behrman is his name. He's a great guy. He broke his ankle in the first game. So Nick goes in. I'm the backup. And we play the rest of the year. Nick did a good job. And he was a really good Division III quarterback, really good Division III football player.
Yeah.
And so he ended up playing quarterback the next 4 years. And so I switched positions as a junior so I could play.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to. I was supposed to sit behind him the whole time and hope for him to get injured. I didn't want to do that, So he ended up throwing to me the last 2 years. Was great. Ziegler and I played a lot together. But yeah, Nick's.
Can you explain the locker room situation of which guy is which guy in the locker room? So I can only imagine Crazier was Dudley Do-Right just fucking like, guys, we got to get our protein shake in now.
Yes, he did. He was the only guy the morning after, like, we would win a game. Right, we'd go to we'd come in the next morning, and everybody's like, depending on what you did that night, right? Like a lot of guys would go out, so they'd come in, there'd be like this big slumber into the weight room the next morning, and he would be like in the corner on a treadmill, and it's like at 11, and it's like on a 7 incline, like just like he'd like Drago in Rocky IV, and it was like the rest of us just looked at him like, man, you come on, you got to give it a break. But that's how he was. He was high strung.
What was Ziegler? Ziegler was out in the back parking lot smoking cigarettes or what?
No comment. Ziggy was a little. Ziggs is real cool. Ziggs and I ended up. We actually lived together. I roomed with somebody different. I was not a football player my first 3 years, and then Ziggs and I lived in a house together. My senior year, his junior year. And Ziggs was a great student, but he enjoyed his free time. That's all I'm gonna say.
When you're cool, it's always sunny, Ziggs. Right. It's always.
Yep.
How about Crazier now? I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how he's doing as a GM? That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for him. My brother's there.
Yeah.
As the receivers coach, and so I think he's really done a good job of trying to he's taken what he needed to take from his experiences, but he's meshing them with a different type of coaching staff, a different style, and they're figuring it out, And I'm really excited for what he's trying to build there. And D'Amico's a really good dude, good coach.
Yeah.
They got a really good staff, a lot of good people down there. I got to visit this spring, and I was really impressed.
What's up with Stroud? That's like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
He broke all the molds of the Ohio State quarterback, everything. The rookie. He went out and balled last year. Especially.
He was a really good player. Like, you could tell watching his tape, he was a really good passer.
Yeah.
Like, as good of a passer as you're going to see coming out, like just naturally gifted. And then all the questions about all right, is he going to acclimate quickly? How long is it going to take? All those things. And, handling adversity. Last year went pretty good. Hopefully this year goes better. But at some point, they're going to have to handle some adversity. But I thought he did a tremendous job as a rookie.
Unreal.
Takes care of the ball, too.
Took care of the ball, but he got better every week.
Yep.
You didn't see, if he made a mistake, first time he played against the Patriots in the preseason, they did that. They dropped someone in the flat on a zone blitz, and he threw a deep pick or something like that.
Yep.
He didn't do that again.
No.
He caught him once, and he learned from it, and that's how you get improvement and growth through players. And that's what you want to see from young players, is not making that same mistake twice.
No doubt.
Mistakes are always going to be made.
Yep.
The guys that become good are the guys that don't make them twice.
Yep. He did a good job of. I think he's well coached, and they do a really good job of putting him in good positions, and I think he loves the game and he wants to be great.
You're watching?
He really does.
Are you watching a lot of ball right now?
I do. I try to, obviously the preseason games.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You see some things there, I'm interested to see some of the young guys.
Yeah.
But I'll be able to watch the games as the season progresses here.
Have you watched a little bit of Drake Maye?
I have.
What do you think about him?
I didn't get to see a ton of him in the spring.
Yeah.
But he's obviously got great size, really athletic. I don't know where he'll fit in the whole, the style he'll play with.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that develops. Is he going to be a little bit of a runner like Josh Allen was in Buffalo? I don't think he's quite as big as Josh is, but guys like that have those kind of attributes, you can use him to run the football too.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we've seen all that yet in the preseason.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see when he plays if he becomes a little bit more of a dual threat guy.
Yeah.
Or if he's just a pocket passer and a big, tall, strong guy in the pocket. But the games I've seen, he's done a good job in.
Last night, he played and he had that 3rd and 14 on that first drive backed up, and he got that with his legs.
Yep.
Which, was cover 5 look, I think,
Yep.
2-man or something. And he, that was pretty cool to see.
Yep. He's stepping up in the pocket, which is for a young guy, as you know, like that's not always the easiest thing to get him to do. And I saw him multiple times last night move forward.
The crunch.
Yeah.
On that crunch stalk,
Yep.
He stepped up. He didn't, there's a lot of times where a young quarterback can't keep his eyes downfield while he steps up. He takes off in one of those lanes.
That's right.
He delivered that football to Polk. It looked good.
Yep.
He still needs to work his feet. He had too many throws where, he's like this and he's trying to do that.
Yeah.
And he'll learn that. Hopefully he does, but that was his MO, is his feet aren't.
And I don't think he played from under center much.
Yeah.
And you can tell, when there's exchange issues, usually that's just time on task. And I doubt he didn't do that much in college from what I gather. So I think those are the kind of things that'll take some time for him to just acclimate, because you can't be thinking about how to get the ball from the center when you're dealing with
backup center
defenses and like where's the blitz coming from and what's my read and what coverage are they playing. You can't be thinking about how to get the ball.
That's Foxborough High, right?
That's right.
That's Foxborough High right there.
That's exactly right.
The one thing also pissed me off is the cleat thing. He's wearing those slipper cleats.
Oh yeah.
Like the dude, you're 230. You're 6'4".
Yep.
You can't be wearing DB 195-pound cleats.
Yeah.
You break a foot.
With a guard get him and it just slipped off.
It slipped off.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. That made me mad. You got to protect those things, especially your quarterback. You learn how to play with a heavy cleat.
That's right.
What's up with Mayo? What's your thoughts on how Mayo's doing? I'm excited for him.
Yeah, me too. Jerod was a great player.
Yeah.
And, everybody, I think he had a ton of respect as a player. Captain, leader of the team, those kind of things were natural to him. And I think that, this is going to be an interesting year for him as he goes through it, because each step of the way will just be something he can learn from and grow from. And I feel like he has his own idea on how he wants it to be done, and he'll adapt it as the circumstances change, as he navigates the season. But, it's hard to prepare for this.
Yeah.
Like you can be around football all your life and all of a sudden you become a head coach, and there's so many other things you're responsible for now. So I'm assuming he's going to just, he'll acclimate to those like he's acclimated to a lot of challenges in his life. And I'm expecting him to succeed.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. It's a dying breed, the defensive sided coach.
Yeah.
And he's one of like 6, and hopefully he finds, hopefully Van Pelt comes through and they have a good relationship and develop the young quarterback, because ultimately it's facing Drake May's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. They've talked about it all year. I mean, from what I've heard, that's obviously going to be paramount.
Yeah.
His development and whatever the plan ends up being for Drake in terms of when he's going to play, how they're going to handle him, and continue to develop him as he goes forward it's going to be important.
That's the toughest thing. Like, they always say you might as well start with Jacoby first, because you can never pull the kid once you put him in.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be an interesting decision what they have going into week 1. Jerod, he's a level-headed guy. He's a very smart guy.
Yep.
And you listed all the characteristics he had. I mean, captain, this, that. He checks all the boxes. I'm excited for his opportunity.
Yep.
Now, how developing young quarterbacks? Can you talk about that? What's the process like? You were a huge part of help developing Tom Brady, right? That's when you first came in, 2000, 2001.
Yep.
You developed him and the other guys. But developing a quarterback, what's that process like? Now, who also makes that decision? Is it the head coach? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it, the quarterback coach, or is it everyone's doing it their own? What's this process?
I think you have to have a plan, and that obviously starts from the head coach, his perspective, and you have to, be able to agree on how you're going to kind of unveil that thing to the player. And and ultimately bring him along. You were a young player that needed to make progress every step of the way.
Yeah.
And this is no different. It's just there's so much notoriety and so much attention on the quarterback position. So if they're not talking about your arm angle, they're talking about your footwork. If they're not talking about that, they're talking about your eyes or your read or how you navigated the pocket. And there's a lot of things that go into playing it well. But I at the end of the day, I think you got to take the player where he's at, when he comes in, whether that was Castle or Garoppolo or Stidham or Brissett or Mack, Aiden O'Connell. Like, you got to take the player where he's at. They're all at different spots. They all have been taught different things. They've all, digested different amounts of information. Some have played in different systems than yours. Some have played in maybe some that were a little bit more like yours. And you just got to figure out, all right, what do they know? And what am I going to try to, push forward to get him to progress the quickest?
Yeah.
I think I can get this and this done in OTAs. Okay, great. Cadence, play calls, footwork. All right, good. Then in training camp, now I got to get him to see different coverages and understand defenses a little bit more.
And protection.
Protections, and then, move forward, ball security. And then the red zone's a different animal, and third down and 2-minute offense. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I think it's just having a really good feel for where's the player at.
Yeah.
Can't just keep throwing stuff at him. I always talk about it. They have a bucket. You guys all had a bucket, and yours was a big bucket at the end. Like, you could handle whatever we gave you. Well, when you take a young quarterback, it's more like a cup. You got to put some stuff in his cup, and when it gets to the top, you got to stop. You know what I mean? And then make sure that he, has this and he can do it well. And then, okay, so then when he's ready for more, then you get him a bigger cup.
Yeah.
And then hopefully he ends up with a bucket and you got a bunch of stuff in there that you can do well. But there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut to it. And I think knowing where the player's at is really important.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people have been talking about, the systems in the NFL. You got the West Coast system, then you have like our system, the Charlie Weiss Patriot system. And they say that the West Coast system is pretty much, it protects the quarterback. The offensive linemen help with the protections. Everyone, the quarterback, you go where the ball is supposed to go. It's step system for the receivers. Is it harder to develop a quarterback in our system, because that's what people are trying to say, than it is in the West Coast system?
I think it depends on the way you look at that. If the goal is just to restrict the volume of responsibility that you place on him right away, then it certainly could be. If at the end of the day your goal is to have him understand how to handle all the problems and take care of those things that come up in the big games in order for him to help you win them, then maybe it's worth it.
Yeah.
That was always our mindset. Is basically what we're talking about here is who's going to do the stuff prior to the ball being snapped.
Yeah.
All the quarterbacks have to do the same thing once the ball's in their hand. They got to understand what happened relative to the protection or the pressures. They have to read the coverage. They have to identify a guy that they think is open and make accurate throws and protect the ball. Like, everybody does the same thing once the ball snapped. Really what we're talking about is pre-snap responsibility.
Pre-snap responsibility.
That's it. And so I always looked at it like a mountain. Like, at the beginning, we're at the bottom, we're trying to climb it. And at the beginning, when you start talking to them about making the calls and setting the protections and dealing with the run game and all those things that we taught our players how to do, it's harder because it's foreign. It's not that they don't understand it. It's just different.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, they're at the bottom of the mountain, and you look up and you're like, God damn, that's a tall mountain.
Yeah.
But I always felt like as we went through the first year, all right, you're getting up the mountain. You know it. I know it. We all know it.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the top of the mountain, now there's nothing left to climb because you understand it. You understand how to manipulate the protection, how to solve your issues with blitz zero and those kind of things, and just be able to do it at a high level.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, like, okay, Tom, everybody knows Tom's won a lot. Well, Tom did it that way. Peyton did a lot too. Peyton won a lot. He did it that way. I know that Pat's in some way, shape, or form able to handle some of those things as well. I just think having the quarterback never be responsible for any of that stuff, there's some downside to it. Other people might argue that that's not the case, but I would say that, there's pros and cons to both. I love the idea of having the quarterback able to understand it all.
Yeah.
I really do.
I mean, I do too. That's the quarterback. That's why he gets paid all the goddamn money. Yeah. Fuck. $65 million nowadays.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the game day fit?
What do you mean? What you wear?
Yeah, well,
Sure.
for coaches, what did
I wore two things specifically.
what?
I like it.
Yeah, baby.
That's the Josh McDaniels
Well,
visors.
I did two things specifically.
And the Air
re-
Monarchs.
The reason I did it was so my kids could we all look the same.
Yeah.
You go out there and you're the same exact outfit. And it's like when you have like a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old and they're up there in the stands and somebody's trying to. So initially I did the white visor and the white long sleeves. And that was the two things that I told them. I said, you can see me.
And
it just stuck.
And it answers
And it
the other
stuck.
question. The Air Monarchs are just dad swag. It's dad swag.
This is what it is.
Comfort, baby.
It is what it is. I was orthotics in everything I had. So
My guys,
I hate the narrow shoe.
Yeah.
Like it drives me crazy.
I was right there with you.
Go.
We were just messing around now.
Jeff,
This is
our guy Jeff. Angled.
Angler. Yeah, so Angler, this is guy who makes orthotics. Let me just tell you, he comes up. First off, these orthotics are like $30,000 each.
Whoa.
They're like
That's he's going over the top.
well,
here.
for you they would probably be cheaper, but the
They
team
were for
was
me.
the team was
My
paying for
cup
us,
was
so
littler.
he was.
My cup was smaller. He made more money than I did.
But he would roll up to Foxborough. He's from Pittsburgh. He'd roll up in his motorhome, and he'd bring out all these contraptions and stuff, and he'd be making your orthotics. There was
like
some
the-
band there was
drills.
yeah,
and the
drills,
things,
but
yeah.
he'd be making tar and shit in the parking lot, which is like fully illegal. I don't know.
I went to his house once to do. So you know how he does a mold of your feet?
Yeah.
So I got to his office, and he has literally. When I tell you, he's got like. If someone ever broke in there, God bless it, don't let that happen.
Yeah.
He's got people's feet that you wouldn't even imagine. Like I was looking at them all, and I'm like, oh my god. Like
Who?
We're talking like. I mean, it's like, Ray Lewis and this guy and a golfer and an NBA player, and I'm not going to name, but it's like, okay. And it was like I'm literally hundreds of feet molds.
So Rex Ryan would have loved it.
Yeah, he would have loved it.
Bro, you make him sound like the Walter White of orthotics, cooking up
That's
orthotics.
exactly
is.
what he was. He literally would roll up in a motorhome and he'd be cooking up these goddamn orthotics in the back.
And well, we were. How many
rock.
of us were hooked on that? Like we didn't want to get them from anybody else.
Oh, you couldn't.
I still don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I still get them.
not making as much. So I'm
Oh yeah, right.
just stay in the Reebok.
16 people on your.
We got nice Reeboks.
Payroll.
This is a segment, Josh, where we go back into time. Around January 10th, 2015, we talk about
Okay.
pop culture. We talk about pop culture.
Here we
Number
go.
one movie was Taken 3. Have you ever seen?
Neeson.
Liam
Neeson.
Neeson. I mean, if you
It
have a
wasn't
daughter.
as good as Taken 1, but I
No.
mean,
No. But I think all his movies are pretty much
they're the
Taken.
same. Yeah.
I watch them all and I love them. I'm entertained every
He
time.
uses that voice when he talks.
I'm going to give you an option.
That's exactly right. It's like a low voice, and it's like you just feel like
Now you're going to let my daughter go,
that's right.
or I'm going to come and find you.
Very specific set of skills.
Exactly.
That's right.
The number one song, All About the Bass by Megan Trainor. Daughter likes that song. It's all about the bass.
Your daughter does?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah, I know. My daughters liked it back then.
we just hit on the Kid Bop version,
My boy.
so we don't have to hear anything about booties and stuff.
That's right.
Around this time, David Letterman says goodbye after 33 years
Late night.
of the late night show. That he was a stud. I didn't realize it was this late. I thought it was more
I know.
probably like early 2000s.
Because when you were going on Late Show, it was already Colbert, right?
We went Colbert and then Fallon.
So you didn't go on till literally after this
After
year.
this.
Yeah,
Oh,
after this year.
After
Yeah.
this year.
Wow.
Damn.
He was great.
He was. Left Shark sweeps the internet after Katy Perry.
He had one of those things like this. You know, see, you're kind of like you're trying to do your old David, your David Letterman thing.
I mean, you got to watch all the greats.
Look at 'em.
You little film guys.
Howard Stern, David Letterman. There you go.
WN. Some great movies that came out this year: American Sniper, The Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies, Interstellar, all in theaters.
I didn't see The Hobbit I didn't see that. I saw American Sniper. Yeah, I saw that.
That was badass.
That was a good movie.
We made so many pump-up videos for you using the Interstellar soundtrack.
Love that.
Right around this time.
So these guys,
When he was playing,
yeah, these were guys we worked
I've been
together
around
for that
a
long.
while. I've been around too long.
he needed you to be making pump up videos.
You think I was making these
Yes.
highlight films
I
myself?
thought
you think
I thought you would race out of the building after treatment and go home and like make a highlight video of yourself.
Absolutely not.
To Interstellar.
Interstellar. Have you heard Hans Zimmer? He's going to be in LA next week, or New York. I want to go see him. He's a great soundtrack guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a scoresman.
Would you see any of the content that he'd be putting out like when he was playing?
No.
Good. Good.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Never.
Not even growing pats.
What?
Smoothie
The only
time?
thing I saw that you did was you and Dola were the police officers.
Yes.
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah,
how you know
right.
he's
What
good.
else did you see? You know you seen them all, Josh. Josh, you seen them all. You got kids. He come up to me like
My kids probably saw more than I did. Actually, my kids, I was leaving and they were like, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Julian's," and they're like, "For what?" I'm going to do his podcast with them. They're like, "What? Are you really?" Oh yeah, they're all excited. They've seen this.
Shout out to McDaniels. Little McNuggets.
Yeah.
Little McNuggets. What's life like for Josh McDaniels in 2014 during this time?
I had 4, and so my littlest one just turned 2, and then I had a 2, a 4, an 8, and a 10.
Man.
Wow.
So I was in it, you know, and all of them were in grade school or not yet in school. So those are good times. I mean, you know, when you had 1, but I mean, like those are cool times. There's not as much drama.
Yeah.
You know, they're not into problems. They have minor issues.
Being a coach is tough, man. You know, like having to deal with those problems and then having to deal with, the team.
Took 2 of mine to the Super Bowl this year, and that was the last time I did that.
Last time.
That I took 2.
Why?
Because the other 2 were 2 and 4.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
And then they all started going.
you pay $3,000 for them to watch Moana, 4 times. You know what I mean? Like it's the most expensive movie you've ever seen in your life. So when we went to Houston to play Atlanta, the night after you win the championship game is so like you're having all these conversations, right? About who you're going to give the tickets to and who's coming and all that. And we were sitting on the couch and I was like, what do you want to do? The girls, And I'm like, let's just bring them all.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so all right, we have pictures, like they have their iPads, right? Thank God they were allowed to bring them in, and then headsets, and they're just watching the games going on. You know what I mean? Like, but at least after the game, you have those memories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those are great memories.
Yeah.
Man, you seen all the media butterfly now Bill on TV lately?
I've seen him a little bit. I haven't seen I saw him on the draft.
McAfee,
I saw him on the draft with McAfee.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the recent McAfees. I've been doing some other stuff, but I know he's doing a few things, right?
Inside the NFL.
Inside the
He's
NFL.
got a podcast.
That hasn't
Manning
started yet,
cast.
though, right?
Manning
Not yet.
cast.
No, yeah.
Yeah, McAfee.
McAfee.
So the second week of September will be a big week.
Everywhere.
The 2 hardest fucking people, the 2 hardest people to get on my goddamn podcast. Bill fucking Belichick, guy that I took a lot of nice pay days for, right? Nice paydays.
Yeah.
And then Tom fucking Brady.
I knew you were gonna say. I was
Tom
like,
fucking Brady
I
and
can
Bill
imagine
Belichick.
Tom and Bill are tough.
Yeah, it was so tough, but they'll go do McAfee show. They'll do.
Yeah, coincidentally, you see him, but they're the guys you see the most.
Every
Every stinking podcast. He's getting a haircut on a podcast. A podcast.
Tom. I mean, what are we doing?
What do we need to do? What does your podcast need to do?
I don't know.
We might need your help.
Huh?
Josh.
We might need you to text Bill.
I was asking you. I haven't. Do you have a board? like a board of trustees for this show. And,
You're
you know
looking
what I mean?
at it right here.
This is the
This is
board.
the board right here.
This is the board.
This is the fucking
Hey, we're getting
board.
close with Ernie. That's all right.
Ernie's our guy.
I like Ernie.
Ernie's goated, bro. He's a member. He's a banging member of the crew at this point.
Yeah.
Ern.
What's your craziest Ernie story?
Ernie. Well, I mean, that's a long. There's a long list of those. Ernie. Well, when he took the header before we played Atlanta, like.
Did we tell that?
We told that
Who
one.
said
Yeah,
that?
when he took the header
he did.
and hit
He
his head.
did.
And then the best was when he came back out and he was bandaged like a hero. And it was like we're still in practice. Remember when he came back out?
Friday.
And all the players started like clapping for him
Slow
and everything.
clap for-
The slow clap for
Little
Ern.
Willis Reed moment.
I was like, what is going on? Remember he was bleeding?
Yeah, he had blood
Well, so hold on.
everywhere.
So then that night, we practiced and all that, and then every night we had a staff meeting, right? We go to the staff meeting. Ern still got the bandage. He's still bandaged up. Like it was like a MASH unit.
The same bandage or a fresh one?
I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that because I didn't change it. But I know this. He still had the
MASH unit.
bandage. You know what I mean? Like I would have got out of the bandage and maybe put like I don't know what I would have put on, but
They
it
give
was
you a little something. Right?
yeah, like a hat or something. But he was like, no, I'm going to keep wearing the bandage.
Hey, you gotta coach hurt.
Yeah.
You gotta coach hurt.
And Ern is funny because I have a couple Ernie. So when we were in the night before the Super Bowl in 11, so we're in the meeting, the staff meeting. This is the final staff meeting prior to game day. This is evening. You guys are curfew.
Last Supper.
Last Supper, right? There's a phone that rings. Bill's started to talk already, right? And that's when he's like he's basically like, this is the last thing we're going to talk about, right? And a phone rings, and I'm like, at that point, you're just hoping it ain't yours,
Yeah.
right? And I always had mine off anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then I look over to the left, and it's Ernie's, and he answers it. Like Bill's literally like where you're at, and I'm where Ernie is, and he like looks down, he grabs it, looks at the phone, then he flips it up, and he starts talking. And I think it was Christine, and he's like, tells her like basically he's in a meeting and he'll call her back. And I'm like, there's only one person in that staff meeting that could have done that and not gotten like the death stare, and it was Ernie. Because if I'd have done that, Bill would have looked at me and wanted to just kill me.
Oh my God.
But it literally, he hung the phone up, and I'm going, oh my God, and Bill just kept going.
Fucking
Just kept going.
get out of jail.
Then
free card.
he hated the whole like the Nike he loved these Reebok shoes.
Good brand.
Yeah, he loved these Reebok shoes. So when the league came out and made us wear Nike, he just put tape over the Reebok logo on game day and wore his old Reeboks for like 15 years or whatever. Whenever we went to Nike, I don't remember when that was.
Yeah, he's superstitious on the low because he wore the
Yeah.
same shit all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Let's go back.
Well, hold on.
into-
Before we do that, while we're talking to Ernie, I'd love to know two things from you. What was the best nugget Ernie ever gave you, and what was the worst nugget he ever gave you?
There wouldn't be any worse nuggets, honestly, because he never he shared stuff with me. Like he had video and things from Montana, like doing drill work, and he had so much knowledge about almost everything, and so he really footwork, quarterback play, situations, adjustments. He was just he always helped. Always helped. It wasn't always like 15 things, but there was like
you mean to tell me there hasn't been one Ernie card where you're sitting there?
Ernie card?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not a nugget. If you're talking about Ernie cards, that's a whole different story. Yeah, he was. Does anybody? Do the viewers
The
know
viewers
your
know
cards?
Ernie card. So Ernie would do all the defensive cards, right?
On Thursdays, and it started on Fridays. That's when it started. So it was like Bill would say, I got the cards on Thursday night in the staff meeting, which meant Ernie had them because
Yeah.
Bill wasn't going to draw them.
Yeah.
He had other things to do. And so Ernie's Ernie would draw the cards. And it was like, so we, as an offense, we didn't know what was coming, kind of more preparing you like to get ready for the game.
Yeah.
Might get a blitz here, might get coverage, might get something else, who knows. And he would always take it off of like something they did. But there was times where like, as an offensive coordinator, you're like, we've had a pretty good week so far. And like the last thing you're looking for is like an absolute disaster on Friday's practice, right?
Fast Friday.
Yeah, no, they weren't fast Fridays. In New England, they were
Brain fart Fridays.
championship Fridays. Championship, baby.
Championship Fridays.
And so he would he would hand us the cards, and I would just ask one of the QCs like, "Do we have any grenades in there?" You know what I mean? Because they would like flip through them, and he'd be like, "Yeah, there's a few." You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh man, what are we doing?
The defense.
And Tom hated it.
Oh,
he'd be like, they don't do that. You know what I mean? Just like legitimately like get angry about it. And I would be like, just let it go. All right, let it go.
I mean, we get a play call from when the defensive coordinator did it back at UOP in 1982 when he was defensive coordinator, quality control guy. Ran a blitz zero in this one, like the one time it was ever called in the history of the game, but that guy was associated with it, so we did it.
Do you have like a marketing deal with these guys?
Yeah,
Clean as
little,
can be.
little electrolytes in there to keep that water in your muscle.
Look at you.
pH levels just.
I have less muscles now. I'm older. I'm almost 50.
No, you're not.
I'm 48.
You look good.
Really
you.
looking good, man.
You look
48.
good.
I'm almost 50.
Like Richard Gere.
My little girl the other day, she heard me say that because somebody had asked me how old I was, and she stopped for a minute and she's like, "You mean to tell me in 22 years you're going to be 70?" And I was like, when she said that, I was like, "Whoa!" I'm like, that's not that far away. 22 is not like.
That's a long time.
I don't know, but I mean that like she went right to the 70 marker on me. I'm going like, can I get to 50 first?
Jeez.
70 burgers.
How old are you now?
38.
You got a little grays in there.
I'm gray as heck.
Look at you.
Distinguished.
Yeah. I'm trying to be like you guys.
Like Richard
Where's
Gere.
that Richard Gere, baby?
You know, George Clooney, Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
Whatever his name is.
Richard Gere, pretty woman.
There we go. Sports world in 2014, 2015, we were the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, baby.
Yep.
MVP was Aaron Rodgers. Always had those MVPs.
No rings.
No what?
One
He
ring.
had one ring.
Yeah.
15 years ago. National champions were Ohio State. Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota.
Shout out Oregon Ducks, baby.
Oregon Ducks.
Yep.
Where's he at now?
Washington.
Someone's been
Quick.
he's
Quick.
watching.
He didn't play
he's
last
quick.
night, though, did he?
I'm
Huh?
aware.
He didn't play last night.
No.
No.
Neither
So
did
he's the backup.
He and Jaden did not.
That's the best job in football. Being a known backup guy.
So you got to play.
Until you got to play. Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz, and Craig Biggio all inducted to the Hall of Fame.
What a year.
That's
a crew.
a year.
That's a crew.
Pedro. American Pharoah became the 12th horse and the first since 1978 to win the Triple Crown.
That was that long ago.
That's crazy.
We were at that game.
We were at that race at the Derby. That's not the
I
last
have
one. Is
pictures of you at that race. At
He
the
doesn't
Derby.
remember.
I think a lot of people have pictures of us
Yeah,
at that race.
I definitely do.
Were you there?
Nope, never been. Because it was usually right around the draft.
Yeah.
It's almost always on draft.
I knew
week.
the coaching staff were kind of horse race guys, so I was wondering.
It's always on draft weekend.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard for us to know. We don't even know who's playing.
Who's on what? What's on second?
Nailed it.
The U.S. women's national team.
Is this Brandy? Is this one Brandy?
No, this is four.
Oh,
That was
okay.
in like 2000. That was like in 2000.
Gosh, I was like,
we had her on. That
holy
was
moly.
98.
99.
99. We did an episode with her.
We had her
was
on.
Awesome.
All-time
was
game from
amazing.
the Rose Bowl.
That was awesome.
But this is when we defeated Japan 5-2 to win the World Cup. Didn't we lose the year before
Or the year after. Let me double check.
or the year after? This was like the redeem. Ref talk. Ron Witter and Scott Green retired
Prior to the
prior to
season.
the season.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
I like Gene. I like
Territory?
Gene. Yeah,
That was your favorite?
that was my favorite. You don't like Gene?
I do. I really like Gene.
Gene
I think Gene's great.
Gene had a kid that went to Kent.
Yeah, John Perry,
Perry.
good dude.
He was cool.
I really
like
like
John.
I really like Vinovich.
Vinovich.
I thought he just does such a good job of like the game just keeps going.
Yeah.
He
I'll tell
doesn't
you who
get-
I don't like. Who's the guy? Scott Novak. Just looks like a principal. He just looks like
He might be.
he probably is, or a judge.
They have. I mean, they all have jobs.
Not a Hercules guy either.
Not a Hockley guy?
Nah.
You got too loud with the arms.
Too much with it. You're doing too much,
Too
brother.
much. Yeah, I liked Hawk.
Be under the.
Big
Be a Carl Jeffers.
guns
Come on,
hanging
now.
off of him.
Guy can't be looking like a linebacker. He can barely get his false mark. Can we get some pliability in those arms?
dude.
Come on,
Hydrate.
bro. Hydrate.
He's just like a buff Cleat Blakeman. Come on, bro.
A buff Cleat Lakeman.
Oh my god, I love deep
The
rep talk,
fact
bro.
that you laughed at his joke, he's a McDaniels heady.
Oh, I'm a stand, bro. I'm a stand. I'm not gonna hide it.
He's gonna when you leave after this, he's gonna be like, "You guys heard him laugh at my joke."
Facts.
I love it.
All right, what teams in Ohio did you grow up liking? You're from Canton.
You're talking about like pro and
anything.
college?
Who did you support?
When I was a young, I mean, it was hard not to like. It was hard not to support Ohio State and the Browns because of where I grew up. But my favorite college football team back then was the Florida State Seminoles.
Seminoles.
Loved Charlie Ward. He was the quarterback.
Yeah.
Casey Weldon was before him, and then Charlie Ward. And I rooted for Bobby Bowden to eventually get over the hump and beat Miami and win a national championship, and they did.
Yeah.
Eventually, but that was my favorite college football team.
Can we get some Snoop Menace talk on this pod?
Some what?
Snoop Menace?
Who's
the
that?
national championship game when they beat Virginia Tech?
No,
Wide
that was
receiver.
after.
That's
that
later.
That was with Peter Warwick.
Okay.
That was
Peter Warwick.
the one in '94. I think it was when they won, and they had Kes McCorvey and Tamarick Vanover and Kevin Knox, and those guys were playing.
They were a beast in football. The football game, NCAA in '94.
Mark
good.
Richt, OC that year? I forgot about that.
Who's that?
Mark Richt was the OC that year.
Yep.
Dang.
Before he went to Georgia. Yeah, that was my favorite team. And then honestly, I don't know why I had like kind of like an affinity for the Lions. That was back when Eric Kramer and they actually did some decent things back then with Barry.
Yeah.
Barry was hard not to like. When you got to see Barry on TV, like that was like must see TV.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
he was unreal. That's who every kid wanted to be.
I mean, just watching him play was such his running style was so different than everybody else.
100%. I mean, and his legs were just so massive, and the way he cut on AstroTurf was like illegal.
Yeah. And he
To
walked.
like the physics, literally.
Yeah, he walked away from the game. He was still healthy. And could have played. And
I watched the thing on him. He seems like a great dad and stuff. You know, him and his relationship with his dad was always a little weird. It wasn't weird, like he loved his dad, but his dad was always kind of tough on him.
Yeah.
Like always said that he was the third best running back of all time behind Jim Brown and him. And then he would tell publicly, he would say, "You're the third best running back of all time behind Jim Brown and me."
Jim Brown and me.
Now, you coached at Michigan State. You got
Just for 1 year.
for 1 year with Saban. Was that part of
Right after I graduated
Yeah.
from Carroll.
And so did you think Nick gave you a recommendation to Bill?
Sure. I can't.
Yeah.
Brian was a second year GA. I was a first year GA. So he was a year older than me.
Brian
Dayball. So when I got there, Brian was already in his second year. And so I was in my first year. So that was a huge experience for me. Because coming to New England with Bill, after being with Nick, it didn't seem like such a oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'd already all right, I know what this is like, after having been with Nick.
What are the similarities and differences?
Nick is not afraid to really detail it out. You know what I mean? Like there would be like a cover one tip sheet for the DBs that was like this thick. That's one defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, holy cow. If we do this, got that, and he believed in preparation. It was relentless in that regard. Bill was very much the same, but less like he would try to simplify, I thought, as much as he could, and we might play cover one, but he's not going to overwhelm you with, too much detail. But I mean, honestly, their personalities are a little different. Everybody thinks Bill is what you see in the media, and as you know, it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was fun. It was great for me to have a chance to be with Nick before going to Bill.
Baptize you into it.
No doubt.
You know, we all forget Anakin was a Jedi first. Okay, he was a Jedi.
There you go.
Jackie, let's break down these Ravens. Give us the rundown.
Let's get into these Ravens.
Get into the game.
Okay.
This was the year the Ravens went 10-6. This is in the Harbaugh era, of course. Gary Kubiak's lone season as OC in Baltimore.
Yep.
Ooh.
Good
And
coaching
then
staff.
Oh, yeah. And then on the other side of the ball, we have Mr. Blitz Zero himself, Dean Pease.
Dean Pease, that fucking Dean Pease.
Dean Pease.
You remember what Randy Moss used to yell at Dean Pease all the time?
What did he used to say?
He used to Dean Pease blitz fucking zero. Lost me my goddamn ring.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Like, was it Plexico?
Yes, bro. Oh, my God. I still got PTSD from that as a fan. Yep. Jeez. And now we're talking Nick Saban. We're talking Bama. C.J. Mosley's rookie year, he was a beast.
Yep.
Elvis Dumerville, Terrell Suggs, Sackville, 29 sacks that year. We're in the post-Ray Lewis, post-Ed Reed era. Those guys left in 2012. We're in 2014 here. They were the 6th seed in the AFC going into the playoffs. And this was a banner year for Joe Flacco. I mean, absolutely tearing it up. Best year of his career. Threw for 27 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards. Just balling out.
Yeah.
Backed up by Tyrod.
This is a good team.
Heck of a team, bro. Steve Smith.
Really good team. Really tough. Really well coached. And they had a lot of info on us. Like we had, played enough. And it was like, 2012 AFC Championship game, 2013, we went there and played them. 2014,
dating back to my rookie year, 2009.
I mean, there was a lot of like.
Explain the rivalry. People, this was a rivalry for a good 8 years.
No doubt.
It was like us. It was our out of division rival. It usually bounced from them to the Colts, then went to Denver.
Yeah.
But they had a huge chunk of that.
Yeah. I mean, you knew it was going to be a challenge to beat them. It's a great organization. They're really well coached, and they were stable.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like things were fluctuating all the time. Like who's the coach? We played against the Jets and the Bills and it was like, every few years it felt like you're getting, used to like, all right, this is the new coach. He hired these two new coordinators. So the system's going from this to something else. And it was like, for these guys, there was a lot of consistency and stability. And so they were able to accumulate a lot of knowledge on us. We had basically the same situation, going into to playing them. And so I just felt like familiarity breeds contempt a little bit. Yeah. And so we had played so many games against them, and it was like, okay, here we go again. Like Suggs, I could still hear Suggs on the field, like when we would say a code word. Suggs was him and Lewis and Reed obviously were incredible, but they were also incredibly intelligent. And so
that's what made them.
Yeah, and so like you're yelling a word, and then he's going, it's going over there, and I'm like, gosh, dang, like we got to switch everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's such a pain in the butt when you're dealing with that. But they were tough, they were physical, as you know. We prided ourselves on being the same way, and so we played a similar style of football, if you will. Both wanted to be good in the kicking game. Both took a lot of pride in the line of scrimmage. Turnovers. It was all those things. So it was almost like you're playing, a close relative, and even though they weren't in our division, we played them a lot. So it felt like they were. And, they always talked about how they didn't fear us and all that. I don't know why anybody would fear playing somebody else, but like they talked about it a lot. And, and they got us a couple times.
Yeah. I know this game it didn't have Ray or Ed, but can you talk to the listener about having to try to prepare against those two guys?
Yeah. I'm sure like when you talk about a defensive coordinator trying to get ready for Manning or Brady, Those guys that were really intelligent and could play the game in their mind too. That's what that felt like when you were getting ready to play Reed, Lewis, Suggs, to me. There's not that many teams that I've coached against where I would say there was the volume of players that they had at one time that were as instrumental in terms of knowing what was coming, seeing the formation, overplaying tendencies, being able to adjust, getting their teammates in the right position. It was really hard to, because as a coach, you want to prepare your team as best you can. You also want to try to scheme some success.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, hey, good luck, Jules. Get out there and get them on every play. Like, there's definitely plays where it's like, all right, Jules, you're going to have to come through here. And you came through, a ton. It's just, you want to try to help your players as much as you can by giving them something that's like, okay, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And it's going to not trick the defense, but there's going to be an element, a little foreshadowing. There's going to be a little, where it's simpler to have some success. And it was hard against them. It just wasn't, that was not simple.
Yeah.
It wasn't simple.
I just remember anytime we would play Ed Reed or Ray Lewis, Bill would show like a 20 play cut up on just both of those. There'd be a 30-minute team presentation, to start the day, of just a highlight of these two. This guy will fucking blow you up. Like, just that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, cover 3, that's what you thought. And like Edward Reed would be in the second, you know what I mean? Like,
his favorite thing to say to us was that they don't need to play split safety defense because they just play post safety and Ed covers both sides of the field. And it got in your head as as a coach, you're like, oh man, what, can we throw it back there or no, ever? You know what I mean? And I remember Tom, we'd have conversations and it was always part of the conversation. But that's a tribute to the greatness of the player.
yeah.
Because when you're looking at him going, he can cover everything back there, and you're thinking about that makes you question whether or not, you can do something.
Oh, yeah.
Bill loved Ed Reed, didn't he? Just loved him.
Loved him.
Where does he rank on the all-time Mount Rushmore of guys that weren't Patriots that Bill loved?
High.
I was gonna say, I would always hear that.
That weren't Patriots that he didn't coach.
Right.
There's a caveat there.
Yeah. There you go.
If you Lawrence Taylor would be the
Number
top.
one.
For
There
sure.
is no Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
There's Lawrence, and then there's the mountain.
Yeah.
That's that.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed is at.
He's up
he's
there.
he's in the Mount Rushmore.
Heck yeah.
100%. Right?
Is there anybody else in there?
Yeah, I mean, Ed was such.
He liked Troy. He liked Troy.
He liked Palomalu.
He liked Palomalu.
Yep. They were different players.
Yeah.
Ed Reed was a completely different player than Troy. We ended up with a lot of the guys that he loved. Rodney, Junior. It was like if we loved him enough, we would try to get him.
Yeah.
Randy. I'm just saying, there was a lot of players.
Ocho.
There was a lot. I loved Ocho.
He loved Ocho.
Loved Ocho.
All the mic'd up clips with them talking shit to each other pregame. Oh, it's fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, Ocho's he's something. But that's what happened.
I love that.
You like him enough.
I don't know. I never made those kind of. I like these two guys.
It's like you're dating. You know.
Hey now.
Easy. We're chilling right now.
Okay, chilling. We're chilling.
Chilling on that. Now, what's the breakdown of this defense? What do you remember from this game plan? Dean Pease.
Dean was.
You played coach.
Yeah,
with him?
he coached against us a long time, with us a long time. So he knew. I think too much gets overblown about that kind of stuff, but he obviously knew some of the things we did. So that was hard to really get him on that kind of stuff.
The element of surprise is usually out with just your fundamental stuff.
Yeah, it's just tough.
Yeah.
Because they've seen it so much. This was probably the most physical and physically tough team we would play. Now we played Seattle at the end and they were very similar, but up to this point, this was as tough physically of a football team on defense that we'd played. No doubt about it. It wasn't the most skilled, super speedy, that it wasn't about quickness, and that was not them. This was about hitting you in the face and They didn't let you run the ball. They crushed the pocket. If you held on to the ball.
Haloti, Nada, was he on the?
Nada was on the team. They had, Nada, Jernigan. Remember Jernigan hit Tommy the one time and almost, he knocked his wind out of him. But then it was like they had all those big guys like Doomerville, who played mostly in sub, and Suggs, who played all the time. But then it was like they had that multitude of guys like Upshaw, McClellan, McPhee, that were bigger, like they didn't even belong in the category of linebacker.
Yeah.
It was like a defensive end, and so they would put them all out there in passing situations. And then it was like, if they didn't get an edge quick, it was just power. And they just brought everybody to the quarterback. And so we knew we couldn't hold the ball long. Running it was going to be difficult. And they were the best red zone defense we had played all season to that point, by far. And so I remember on Tuesday of this week, Bill had a conversation with me, and these were always tricky conversations. And it wasn't the only time we had it, but he said, I don't know how much time we want to spend messing around in the running game. He's like, I just don't, I don't think we're going to win the game that way. Mm-hmm. That's not where our strength lies. That's not where our advantage is. And so he was willing, whenever he always said something like that to me, I always say like, okay, well, tell me what does that mean? Like, do you not want me to put any runs in? Like ever? No, I'm not saying that, but I don't think I want to spend a lot of time running the ball, so then he'd like leave and I'm like, I still don't know like what I'm doing here, but I'll say this, like, this is one of the unspoken things that I think our players did an incredible job of. And they did it because I think Bill taught them how to do it, was in as big a game as this was, we're going to say we're not doing this. And you could get your feelings hurt if you were like an offensive lineman or the fullback or a halfback. You're like, wait a minute, like, what do you mean we're not going to run the ball? We're not even going to try, And why? Because our advantage was in the passing game, and that's the way we felt best about winning. Like, it'd be like the Celtics. The Celtics are one of the best three-point shooting teams in NBA history, right? Well, they're not going to just pound the ball in the paint all day and hope that they can win inside, against the Nuggets or whoever they play. They're gonna do what they do and beat you with skill and speed and the shooting and all. And that's basically what he was saying was, look, we can try it. And we had a couple. I think we only ran 7 times, and that was literally just to kind of like give me a play off to think about the next pass. Yeah. Honestly, that's about what it was. Because it was like we did not go into it thinking we were going to run 36 runs. We weren't. We were only going to run a couple here and there and then throw it the rest of the game. But you guys were able to hear that, and we would try to say it in the right way. So where like guys would go, okay, I understand why we're doing this. Let's buy into what we're doing and be really good at that, and let's go win the game.
Well, without a doubt, and that's something that was on the wall when you'd walk in, mental toughness, doing what's best for the team when it isn't necessarily best for you. That was something that we all knew going into every game, that we were a game plan offense. Mm-hmm. So there were times where we didn't run the ball, or where I had to run a bunch of go routes and clear out routes and all these routes and
very few times.
Yeah, all these routes,
Yeah, right.
All these, those kind of routes. But, it was all for a reason, because we were a game plan offense, to get back to it. And, that's very different than a team that does what they do. There's like teams that are game plan teams that are they throw the game plan out every post game, and then it's all brand new. That's kind of what we tried to do. And then there was teams that did what they did. Steelers on defense. They run the same cover fucking floor for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. So like it's one of those things, but that's tough, and that takes a lot of trust for coaching staff and the players.
That's right.
That can handle that. And we just so happened to always. That's what the types of teams we had, guys that understood that.
It was tough to go in there and tell like Dante.
Yeah.
Because you're having this conversation and you're like, okay, well, here we go. Like, I'm about to go in there and tell the offensive line coach, he's like one of the best offensive line coaches in the history of pro football, that we are not going to run the ball in this game. You know what I mean? And you got to try to finesse it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like telling your wife you want to go on like an extended golf trip. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I would like to go to Ireland. With who? You know what I mean? And then you're like, and then it's like, how long? And you're kind of like, you're treading water, really. And I remember going to talk to Dante about it, and he was like, ever? And I'm like, no. So I looked at my call sheet just today, and I'm like, we had runs in, and we ran a few. We just didn't run a lot. You know what I mean? But the intention was to basically win with skill in the passing game.
Yeah,
that was what and to slow down the rush by getting the ball out.
Yeah,
we didn't think we don't want to stand there and hold it forever, because that was not going to be that never worked for anybody that year against Baltimore.
Without a doubt. You got any good Scarnecchia stories? Funny ones? Coach Scar he's a legend. He's kind of like,
yes, I have a great Scarnecchia story.
Yeah.
So Dante every Friday when we would finish practice, right? That was our day as coaches, like that we got out before, like, it was close to midnight.
Yeah.
So we would get in there, we would grab our little Fat Friday food.
Yeah.
Right. And we'd come in and we would like sit down, and as soon as the tape was loaded up, we were supposed to run through the film, and then we hand the corrections that we said we needed to make the next day when we watched it with you guys on Saturday. We would hand that to Bill before we would leave. We didn't have a staff meeting. So it was like, so the coaches were like, get your food and get in there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get out of here, right? So Scar he would lay on the ground. We would have the table here. We'd be watching the screen. He would lay over here on the ground on his back, right? And Dante was like, by the end of the week, we're all wiped out, right? Yeah. So Dante would be over here, and he would intermittently do sit-ups. And then when he wasn't doing sit-ups, he was asleep. And so, like, we would be watching a play, and it'd be like, we'd miss a TE or something. And I always let the coaches, like, you guys say what the correction is.
Yeah.
And the QC would be writing it down.
Yeah.
And so we'd be like, and I had the clicker, and we'd watch it, and be like, missed a TE, nobody said anything. Rewind it. Nobody said anything again. I'll look over there. Dante's just like, just cashed on the ground. You know what I mean? And then I'd go, just put, handle the TE on the right side. And then he'd go, yeah, handle the TE. And then he would start doing sit-ups again until he would, and then he would just, when he laid the head back down, he was going again. And then he would do sit-ups. That's what he did. That was his routine.
Scar would be the first one in the building, first off, because I remember when I first got
He made the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was determined to be the first one in the building once. Like
you better be there before 4.
Yeah, you had to get there at 4.
Yeah.
I got there at 4, like, to beat him one time my rookie year.
Yeah.
I was like, this is way too early. No. But he would get in this Swimex, and he would swim like an Olympian in this Swimex for like 30 minutes. Like, he had a crazy routine. He was very fit, and that's why he's probably like 80 now.
No, he's in his mid-70s. He's my dad's age.
And he looks great.
Yeah, we have breakfast. He and Ivan and I have breakfast every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How's Coach Ives?
Ives is great. Ives has lost a little weight. He's doing great. So he's like got this emeritus status. I don't understand. Like, I keep asking him, like, how did you get that? Well, I know how he got it. But he like goes to the facility still.
Oh, yeah.
And like he eats breakfast, then he'll like get a workout in, then he'll go to practice, then he'll come in and eat lunch, and then they'll take off.
Yeah, it's
I'm like, that's a great
club.
day. That's a great day.
It's Country Club Ives. I mean, I've seen him there every time I visit. I'm like, what the fuck, Ives? I thought you retired 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
He did, but he's not going to Lifetime Fitness.
He's absolutely not.
No, he's
eating for free.
That's right. That's right.
It's good for the soul.
Dude, that's so dope.
Jackie, let's break down the Pats.
Heck yeah, let's get in these Pats. AFC champs for the 6th straight year. This was a 12-4 team for the 3rd straight year. Bills' 15th year in New England. Pretty crazy. Josh, OC, of course. Matty P, DC. This was Jimmy G's rookie year. We lost some talent in the offseason. Lost Aqib Talib, lost Brandon Spikes, lost Logan Mankins, but replaced, sort of, not really replaced, but brought in Darrell Revis, Brandon Browner, Brandon LaFell, Jung back, re-signed Jules.
Big re-signing.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I remember when you were out there moonlighting in free agency. Yep, I remember that.
I was in San Francisco.
Some of the most sleepless nights of my career, coaching career. I just, I was like, Bill, I was like, you can't let this guy go. We're just starting. Well, he's at the Giants. Is that where
the Niners?
Niners. Did you go to the Niners? Did you go to the Niners and the Giants?
I went Giants, and then Niners.
So you went.
Niners offered me more money than I signed for.
Well, I mean, the cost of living out there is exorbitant. You know what I me? Huh?
Just fine cheese out there.
You and Harbaugh in there talking numbers.
Me and Harbaugh were talking numbers when he was fighting. Harbaugh was fighting with the GM. Like they're like it's publicly known. Remember that with the Niners?
Yeah.
And he's over here asking me how much you want. We'll get it done.
We're like the only team in pro football that like built their offense around you.
I know. Great.
That's why bad guy to build around.
Yeah,
but when Josh first gets in there,
I remember when you came and talked to me after the 12 season. Do you remember that?
No.
Was it 12 or 13?
When I broke my foot?
No,
13.
It was your first good year was 13. They're 13. Like numbers wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you remember you came and talked to me at the end of the year. This is before free agency.
Yeah.
And you said I didn't know. I thought I was going to be a Billy O guy, and I'm like, well, you don't have to be one or the other. Like I said, we'll make this fun, and we did, and it was great. But I remember you were nervous, like about being a Billy O guy. I'm like, Billy O's one of my best friends. Like, you can be both.
I know.
You can be both, guy. We're different.
I'd always yell at Josh, Billy O drafted me, but you the one gave me my opportunity, bro.
He earned his opportunity.
Hey, 105 catches in 2013 ain't bad. 105 ain't bad.
That's
shit,
not
someone
bad.
had to break a back, someone had to murder someone, and someone had to tear some groins for that to happen. But we're here in Back Bay still. We're still in the Back Bay.
I didn't say that.
We're in the Back Bay. Josh brought in Dola. He brings it. He brought in. I remember the first year he signed back.
It wasn't Josh.
First year he comes back, there was we brought in Dante, we brought in what is his name? Anthony
Dante Stallworth.
Yeah. We brought in Jabbar. We were bringing in all the old guys. I'm sitting here. That's why I really didn't like Josh at first. I'm like, this guy's already trying to replace me. I thought I was gonna be, then all the old guys come in. That's just being a young football player.
Yeah.
You don't really know.
You learn.
You learn.
You learn.
Now, what's the relationship with the coaching staff, developing with Belichick? What's that? How was that room? You guys were all cool. Was it all like he's the principal, you guys are all the teachers? Like what was the dynamic of that? Just the coaching room, the locker room.
Yeah. You mean like the meeting room, like where we had our staff meetings and all that?
Just that community. Your guys' community.
Yeah.
Like there's the player community, there's the medical community, the coaches are their own community.
It was, it was very, very organized, and we always knew kind of like, what was coming next. Our schedule was no different than yours in terms of like when we had to be where next and all the rest of it. I thought he did a tremendous job we understood what was going on at each step of the year as it went, as well as I'm sure any other staff does, because he included us. So like when it was free agency, or when we were preparing for the draft, or when there was a contract issue with somebody, or, he didn't just we just didn't have to read it on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He included us in there, and I thought that was helpful because it was helping coaches that we didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
We were getting prepared for, young coaches getting prepared to take a step forward and all that, because we were learning the calendar year. We were learning all the things that happened. We were learning some of the things, the ways that those things got resolved, which was great. I thought our staff meeting room was very comfortable. Like people think of him as like this real hard to be yourself around kind of guy. And it was like almost the opposite for us. Like we'd go in the staff meeting and You're you. If you know, Pepper would have a big cup of meat, like he'd have like steak and chicken and stuff be eaten, and you know, other Dante would be doing sit-ups, and you know what I mean. Like you could kind of be yourself. And Bill was an assistant for a long time.
Yeah.
So he understood like we're not all going to be the same.
Yeah.
And what he did such a tremendous job of was he asked for input, and he'd say, hey, let's go over where we're at on the roster, you know, after the first 2 weeks of training camp. Okay. And so we would meet as an offensive staff, and we would go through the players and say, hey, you know, Julian's having a great camp. He's in good shape, you know, healthy, blah, 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 blah. You know, here's the plan going forward.
With every player.
Yeah, with every player. And then we would present it to him. And he was the best listener. That's what the magic for him was. He really, because he gave away the responsibility to do that. And then when we came together, that's when he listened. And he was so intent on gathering what you had that he didn't have. He didn't know. He wasn't in the receiver room. He wasn't with us in our walkthroughs or anything like that. So he didn't really have that intimate knowledge. And then he would just take it in and try to help himself make good decisions.
And that's what, you know, it baffles me on this whole narrative that everyone has on Coach Belichick, that he's not inclusive or you know, that like it's just what everyone thinks. Oh, he's so old school. You know, he doesn't listen to other people. It's his way. Well, like he was a guy that would take information from anyone.
Yeah.
I remember he would come up to me during the middle of the game. What are you seeing? And if you gave him the right information, he'd keep coming back to you.
Yeah, you remember he would tell us,
Yeah.
I'm going to come ask you, just don't make up a story.
Just don't make up a story, because if you do that once, then he'll never come back to you.
Yeah, just don't make up a story. But he was going to rely on the players because you're out there on the field.
Yeah.
You see it better than we do.
You
Like
know?
all we can see is a picture.
So it's crazy that there's this narrative ever since, you know, he hasn't been the head coach where, you know, like, oh, it's his way or the highway. Like anytime you hear any sport talk people talking about it, they're like, oh, this guy doesn't listen to nobody. He does it all this. You know, it's crazy to me. How long did it take for you to gain his trust, though?
You know, I mean, my first few years I was on defense. You know, from 01 to 03, I was the lowest guy on the totem pole for sure.
Which was common. He would always cross coach
Flip them.
the coaches, which is genius.
Which was great. Yeah, I you know, I realized my first year, his thing was you're going to do work at the standard that we expect. And the reason he expected it was because we're not going to be able to win championships unless we all produce work at this level. And so I was doing the pads when I was younger, which you had to draw the whole game and then input it all accurately. And if you made any errors at all, like he would hand the pad back to you when it was done. When you handed it to him, that was just the beginning. Then it would come back to you. And like my first one came back to me and there was like 70 yellow sticky notes, little ones, with like, this guy was on the numbers. He wasn't +2, you know, or this, he was a 3 technique. You had him as a 2I or whatever. And he was basically telling me with that, like,
We see it all.
this is how we do work here. Mm-hmm. And so I learned that. And then by the end of my first year, I was much closer to what he wanted. And then, you know, was able to work with Rack and Mangini and those guys on defense and Bill for 3 years.
That's the M word around here.
What's that? Oh, all right, Eric. All right, and then
The M word.
and Rob Ryan and Pepper and those guys. That was a good defensive staff, and Bill was in there a lot. So I was able to see that, and then we had a great team.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from guys like Lawyer and Brewski and Vrabel and McGinnis, and being able to see the way they received the information was great too. And then I'd say, you know, at the end of the 03 Super Bowl, he met with me the next day, and he asked me if I would be ready to make the flip and go coach the quarterbacks in 04. And so I hope at some point during that year one that I kind of earned his trust in terms of the way I would work and what my standard personally was going to be.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of carried from there.
A lot of yellow stickies.
A lot of yellow stickies.
One wrong, all wrong.
At first.
At first.
Then it changes.
Everyone's make mistake. The good ones learn from it. Don't make the same mistake.
Failing is the best part of the process if you'll learn from it.
If you learn from it.
And that's right.
Is that a bit of like a make it moment when Bill asked you to switch onto the offensive side? Did that feel like that, or?
I think there was I don't think you've ever really made it. I think it was I felt very proud of having the opportunity that he was about to give me, but I didn't. That doesn't amount to anything until you go do the job.
Yeah.
You know, so I was excited about it, and I was happy that he would think enough of me to give me a chance to do it. But there was a lot of work to be done after that.
How many times you sleep at the facility?
Never.
Is there who
I go home. I go home.
were
and
there
see
guys that were notorious? Matty P was there.
There was people that did, but I just, even if I was going to go home for 4 hours, I was going home. I walked into each one of my kids' rooms every night and just did the right thing as a dad.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Sleep in my own bed, you know, and make sure that I saw them, you know, at some point.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. I mean, some people do it the other way. I just feel like there's something to be said about that.
Definitely. Jackie, let's get into the game. Set the stage.
All right. Patriots entered this thing number 1 seed in the AFC, as we talked about. Ravens entered number 6, came off a win in Heinz Field, beat the number 3 Pittsburgh Steelers 30-17 in the wild card round. So we got to buy the Patriots. That is, got to buy coming into this week.
That was that crazy. Didn't Flacco hit a deep sideline pass to the Jacoby guy?
No, that was in 12.
12.
Yes. Okay. Now I remember that one. Patriots clinched in week 15 of this season, their 6th AFC East title. And leading up to this one, it was a cold day, baby. 20 degrees, but it was like 8 what the feels like at kickoff. So, and another one of these great Ravens-Patriots battles like we talked about.
Can you explain to the listener like how we took these bye weeks?
Yeah. It was
going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and we were fortunate that we had more than one.
Yeah.
Like some teams, you know, you do everything you can to get one, and that's great. And you make the most of it. I think people always assimilate the bye week with, well, we're gonna rest up and get healthy. And that's true, but I think we always thought of the bye week as, okay, what can we do during the bye week to make sure that we're going to give ourselves a chance to have some advantage depending on who we play.
Self-scout.
Yes. And Bill was great, you know, for years. He had always told us, this was like, I would say after Thanksgiving, he'd always talk to us about, listen, you know, if we can find anything that is unscouted that we can work on for these next 4 or 5 weeks that might give us an advantage in January, let's start doing it. And so we would practice, things, gadget stuff, etc., you know, maybe some tempo things, low red zone, whatever, that we weren't necessarily going to run on December 10th or December 17th. We were getting them ready.
Yeah. And
then during the bye week, we would really apply those to the opponent we were going to play or had a chance to play.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't know who it was going to be. But he was really good at that, and so we always took time to try to do that. We didn't just like, hey, guys, make sure you get treatment and get some rest. It was always a purposeful bye week, you know. Hey, we're not doing this as well as we need to be doing it, so like we're going to do a blitz drill, you know, and make sure that we're good on our protections on third down. We're going to do a cover 1 period, you know, because we know we're going to have to beat man coverage in the playoffs. Or we're going to do a 3rd and goal period in the red zone because we know those plays are going to be huge factors in winning and losing in the playoffs. And for us, we always had a period where it was like, is there any gadgets or little different plays we could run?
Gadgets being trick plays.
Yeah, that might be able to give us, you know, just an advantage, a big play, some momentum, something.
What about this formation breakdown? Remember when I think who brought?
You're talking about Baltimore and Raven.
Baltimore and Raven.
So
that was the play call.
This was during the bye week, and he brought it up, and we saw it in an Alabama game. So Alabama scored, I believe it is against LSU. They did something very similar where the tight end lined up as the tackle. They took a lineman out, and somebody reported ineligible. so we were like, "That's a pretty good idea," And I think the execution of the whole like the linemen coming out of the game, like the lining up in the formation and not acting like we just robbed a bank, was important.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Gotta be good actors.
We did, and like that's where we chose who was going to do it, and so Vereen, who loves Shane Vereen to this day, is like he's the like, all right, you're gonna report ineligible. You have to go to the official. I remember having the conversation, and you have to tell him this: I am reporting ineligible. I'm an ineligible player, And I remember Vinovich was like, okay. And I think his wheels were turning. I don't remember if Bill told him before the game or not. But then when Shane went to do it, he did it. But they lined up to us like we were in a normal formation.
Yeah.
And there we got three. I think we got 3 plays. And the big thing was Bill made the call on that. Hold it until the second half.
Hold it to the second half.
He didn't want them talking about it at halftime.
Oh.
So he wanted, and we did this off and on anyway. Like we would hold something just so you couldn't have a 12-minute meeting and say, look, if this comes up again, here's what we're gonna do. You have to do it on the sideline, and scrambling on the sideline is a little different than doing it in the whiteboard at halftime.
What situation do you have to be in to like kind of apply these gadget plays? Like down by 14, like what's the kind of like?
No, I think honestly as a coach, when you're calling it, I think honestly at the end of the day, it's kind of like a feel thing.
Yeah.
For me, I always kind of did it in two different ways. One of two different ways. Either we have some momentum and I'm going for the cherry on top of the sundae,
or we need to create momentum,
or we don't have any momentum and I need it back quick. Like it was one or the other. You know what I mean? Like you remember in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City, how many times did we call the flea flicker to get it? We killed it like 4 times in the game and finally got it in overtime. And he threw it away because it was covered decent.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm trying to get it again and again and again, and we didn't ever really got it until we got the overtime. So I think it's just one of those things where you kind of got to feel one or the other. Either you're going for the jugular, or you need to save yourself,
or you need
to save
an
yourself.
Extra life.
That's right.
Get that mushroom like in
That's
Mario.
Right. That's right.
And to provide a little context here to what Josh mentioned and broke down with Baltimore and Raven, it was a November 2014 game. Bama LSU helped Bama. Bama pulled it out in overtime.
Yep.
Layton drew it up in OT. Blake Sims to Brandon Green for 24 yards, got him down to the 1.
Yep.
And that's what helped them win the game. Pulled out in OT. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin designed that, huh? You think Lane designed that?
I wonder.
Was it with Lane?
It was with Lane, yeah.
So Lane was there in 14?
Yep, Lane called it.
Yeah. That didn't surprise me. Lane's a good coach.
Lane, he always finds some of that shit.
Another great visorman, another great rider of the visor.
He's a visor guy.
I love
You guys in a visor group chat?
Huh?
Group chat, like visor coach?
Yeah, we're going to visor this. You have to wear your visor to do the group chat?
Oh,
Or can you be in the group chat without being on?
No,
without having your
that's
visor?
the group chat
Yeah, the
name.
visor
Visor guy. Visor
You
guy.
know how many of those I have in my office?
Probably a million.
Different, and there's different years too, because they changed.
Yeah.
They changed.
And you get like he'd have like the military visor or like the breast cancer awareness.
I wore the breast cancer like the pin. I didn't like the other
pinks.
stuff.
Nah, I'm with you. I love Lane. Oh,
Now, did you
what
get a
beast.
look? Because Bill would drop the visor every once in a while in a Miami game. Did you ever give him a look like, Coach?
Nope.
It's my thing.
No,
Because maybe your daughter up, in the stands would be like,
nobody
Bill.
wore the white with the white, so I was good there.
Gotta coordinate, baby.
See, he doesn't have the white sleeves, so
I know.
it's all right. You're not
there.
He's not stealing me.
Not swagger jacking.
No.
But did the hoodie sleeves ever get like OD blown out when you'd push them up or no? They'd bounce back.
Oh, never.
They'd bounce back. Okay.
No, because I always wore like it was like a like a tighter. Every once in a while, you'd have to cut like the little edge.
Yeah.
Just so it wasn't like like when you're done with the game, like your veins are ready to.
That's what you want.
Take an IV. Yeah, you're taking ready to.
That's what I would always keep my tape on for my IV because it made me look way more veinier. Want to be looking tight.
Look, guys, I took a shot.
No, it was because you lose your circulation, then your veins would get even crazier.
You're great.
Should we get into this game
Get
a little
into
bit?
the game,
Yes.
Jack.
All right. Back to this cold day in Foxborough, where the feels like is 8 at kickoff.
It's
man.
freezing.
And back to our boy
That was a
Bill
cold one.
Vinovich is reffing this thing.
Yep.
The Ravens come into Foxborough, start out hot. Flacco completes his first 8 passes, gets 2 on the board quick. Kamar Aiken, Steve Smith. Smith beats Darrelle Revis for the first time like ever in that matchup that dates back to Jets against Panthers, Bucks against Panthers. Revis had his number, man, but Steve got him for a couple and got him for a TD there. Then the Pats get back on there with a Brady rushing touchdown, cuts it to 7. Then a Dola TD, ties it back up, erased the first 14-point deficit. Then before the half, Tom throws a brutal pick, which leads to an Owen Daniels TD.
Jack said brutal.
Brutal, sorry.
He said that. Yeah. He said it was a brutal pick. You didn't say it was a brutal pick, and I didn't say it was a brutal pick. I didn't say it was a brutal pick at all.
Jack.
I just
not
read
how
that
to
it
get
was an
Tom on the
interception.
show.
He said it was a brutal pick. Tom, if you're watching,
Sorry.
Jack said this was a brutal pick.
Situationally, it was kind of brutal.
I mean, when I see over the middle, I'm no OC, but
You know the interesting part about that was, and this is probably as bad of a circumstance that we had, I bet you, that you and I can remember. We had run 4 plays and we were down 14-0.
Yeah, I remember we didn't have the ball.
Well, they scored, and then we got the ball back. We got a first down. Then we went first, second, third down, punted it. Then they scored again. So it was like 14-0. And I remember the feeling in the stadium, because you could start to feel the panic a little bit. And they're like, you could hear those little murmurs like, uh-oh, are we going to get blown out here?
Well, we had that in the back of our mind because they blew the brakes off us in 2009, my rookie year.
It was 14-0, and we had run 4 plays. And I remember going, we got to score on this drive.
You probably thought to yourself, thank God we don't have to run the ball on this one.
Well, I was just looking down there where it says Brandon Bolden was our leading rusher for 3 carries, 7 yards.
Now, can you explain to the listener when you're down 14 points in a must-win game, a win-or-go-home game, what do you do as a play caller? Are you throwing that script completely out? Are you going back to fundamental plays that that we know how to work? Mm-hmm. What was the mindset when we go down 14 the first time? Not even the second time, and then transitioning after when we got it to the second time.
I think the first time first of all, we have to have poise if we're going to ask you to have poise.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't lose my mind on the sideline and then tell you guys to be calm on the field. So I think for me in those types of situations, it's stick with what we're going to do. We don't even have enough evidence to make a change. Like we've run 4 plays. So should I switch the game plan? I don't know. We haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So to me, we don't have enough evidence for me to make a decision like that. So it's basically, hey, calm down. Let's just try to get one on the board and keep playing. We got a long way to go, which we did. And then, you make it 14-7. We got a little confidence. Now we know we can drive the ball on them. And then, eventually we tie it up at 14. But I've always felt like the biggest tug of war you go through as the play caller in a elimination game is doing something that's not in your comfort zone. Like you want to hurry up and get 14 points on the board.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any calls on the call sheet. So I'm not going to go to my chunk passes and shot playlist and call like 4 of them in a row and hope that they all work.
Yeah.
Like you start playing the game like that, the next thing you know, you're going to get sacked or strip sacked or throw an interception or turn the ball over. And now it's like being in quicksand when you're in an elimination game. The more you struggle, the quicker you go down. Yeah. And so to me, that took me a little while to learn that, like take a deep breath and stay with it. You guys are good enough on the field. You're going to make plays. Let's just call the things that are. Now, if there was an adjustment that we felt like we had to make, then you make it. But we didn't have enough evidence right there. But I think you got to try to, slow your breathing down, honestly, and just go to the next series and see if we can string together some good plays.
Man, yeah, it's exactly what we had to do. And I always remember you saying in all our comeback from behind victories that we can't win it on one play.
No.
You can't get the points in one play. So if we all collectively do our job,
Yep.
one play at a time,
Yep.
that's when we're going to give ourselves the best opportunity to go out and win.
That's right.
And that's kind of what we did. Now, what are the halftime adjustments going in after this? So you had in the back pocket, we had our formations. We had Raven and
we talked
Baltimore.
about them.
Yeah,
I remember putting that on
talking
the
about
board. Like, hey, all right, we held these purposefully. Baltimore, Raven, is there any questions on what we're going to do with the operation? Okay. I think I even put up there, like, just be ready on the double pass.
Yeah.
And then we talked about a couple other things because they were playing a little bit more man-to-man coverage than we thought they would. And, so I felt like there wasn't a lot of adjusting to what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because I think we were dictating it because we were throwing.
Yeah.
We were just throwing. That's what we were doing, So I don't feel like it was, like a crazy big, like, hey, let's swing this, other than we knew we were going to spring something on them that we hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. The two drives that really put us in the second hole was when we got the ball back in the second quarter with 1:40-something left, and it was tied, and we didn't do what we always try to do, which is take the last shot and score something.
Yeah.
And then we go 3 and out to start the third quarter. It was like the game could have been completely different in our favor.
That's how it goes.
But yet we didn't take advantage of the opportunities with those possessions, and so now we end up, falling behind by another 14.
That Justin Forsett TD from Flacco after a 3 and out to start the third, but get back into it with a Gronk TD, cuts it to 28-21. Then with 4:20 left in the third,
After we scored that touchdown, I remember that's when you came up to me.
I did. I said, "Do you need any lead time for the double pass?" And you said, "What?" And I said, "Do I have to tell you that it's coming?" Meaning, like, do you need to take your red gloves off or whatever? Your cutters or whatever they are. Like, what do you do? Do I need to tell you that this is coming? Like,
fuck no.
5 minutes in advance, you're like, no. Yeah, that's what you said.
Just throw it.
Just call it whenever you want. And I'm like, okay. So we did. Yeah, that was the first touchdown was the one we actually did the Raven Baltimore formation the first time. We were down by 14. And then when we scored one, that's when we went with the double pass.
Speaking of double pass.
Which we had actually called earlier in the season.
Against the Chiefs.
That's right.
We just didn't throw it over there.
We called it, and
it was Dola going to throw it, wasn't it? Was it you or Dola?
I don't remember.
I watched this morning. It was going to be you.
Okay.
It was gonna be,
But Dola was like saying
it was man-to-man coverage.
Man-to-man coverage.
Like we couldn't do it.
Dola was trying to call you off when you were in motion.
Yeah. Can we go into the second time I threw the football?
2019 in Philly.
Yeah, we can do that.
You're
That was a great story.
So Jules has
story.
Jules
Awesome
has told
story.
his side.
I've
Jules has told
my
his side plenty.
I've told
Would
my
love
side.
to hear
I
your
wanna know-
side.
I want to know if my memory's really fucked up.
No, you got it right. The night before the game.
Yeah.
This is the story.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the same play.
No,
it was a different play. Throw it here, throw it back,
Screen.
set up the catch and run. And in we always did like a little ballroom, which always felt like you guys loved that. I loved it
Just
too.
to reiterate,
It was
game
almost
plan.
like a very comforting feeling when you walked out of there, like we all
Study
we all
sesh.
got it. Yeah, we all got it, and it was loose and so.
But it wasn't always loose, depending on like the games. Sometimes we go in there running hard and stuff.
But that was. But I don't think we ever went in there like it wasn't like a big teaching session at all. It was just I would call the play. You guys would get on.
Without
You would
it,
do it
No,
and walk through it, and that was it.
But if you had like a new player coming in that had a big role,
That was different.
like if
He was nervous.
we were all kind of watching them too as well.
And Julian, I'm going to tell two stories quickly. When he came back in
2018.
Okay, so the walkthrough, because we played on a Thursday night, so we didn't have practice. We didn't have any practice that week because it's just walkthroughs. Well,
I had no live.
He does the hotel like walkthrough, and he's soaked because he's like running routes in the ballroom.
But Tom's with me throwing them.
Nobody else, and Tom always had like a little lacrosse ball, and he would bounce it to you to like show you who. And Julian is literally like, you could see everything, like he was just drenched. And I remember the other guys were like looking at him like, what is going on with this guy? I'm like, yeah, he's obsessive compulsive right now. I think he needs to play a game. Is what he needs to do.
I needed to play a game.
Oh my God.
He dialed up a wheel for you on the first possession.
Hey, walk through like you play, baby.
So anyway, the Philly game was the second throw. Mm-hmm. That night in the hotel, the night before the game, we go walk through it. Tom bounces the ball to Julian. Julian gets the ball, and then he looks and throws it to Phil.
Phil's
just wandering up the field trying to get the defense to come this way, and Philly catches it, and I look at him and I'm like,
Don't you fucking
do that.
just throw the ball over there.
Just throw the ball. And I think we actually did it again.
Yeah.
Just so he would like do it right. You know what I mean? And then we get in the game and he gets the ball and he looks down the field and Philly's open and then he lets it go and I'm just like, and then he caught it and I'm like, I don't know. Those are the ones as coaches where you're just like, that's a hell of a play.
Thing is, if I would have flipped my hips, guy was in my face. I would have got.
You did get drilled.
I got drilled.
You got drilled.
I come running off. When I come running off, you go, you're fucking dangerous.
You are dangerous. I did. You're dangerous. But that was awesome. I remember because you were the only one that threw a touchdown pass that game.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember like and then he would come in the next day and he would put ice. He would have his shoulder wrapped in ice in the team meeting room, and he would sit in the front, I gotta.
I'd always come in like the last person to come in too.
Always. And Brady would just be like,
I'm like, Coach, you got the door. Don't worry. Jim, you got that ice.
Gotta take care of that.
Sometimes I have the training staff come and ice me in front of everyone.
Looking like you just threw a complete game shutout,
Yeah,
bro.
Literally. Like it's Randy Johnson after a 9-inning.
Oh, my. I will say that pass, the You're Dangerous Maverick moment in Philly, put Jules at 5 of 6, 141 yards, and 2 TDs as a passer.
There you go.
What was his rating?
Had to be exceptional.
That had to be amazing.
Yeah, we had the one in the Super Bowl to Dion.
Oh, man. He was close to it.
He almost made that.
He almost made that catch.
I shouldn't have thrown it.
That was nuts. What do you mean?
Was he open?
Yeah, he got him. He was like just by him. The guy did a good job of peeling on it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the defense was over there.
That game was a blur.
158.3.
That's
pretty
perfect.
good.
Is that perfect?
That's perfect.
Someone say that's pretty good.
Not too shabby, bro.
Someone say. Let's get back into the game.
All right, so we're moving here into the third quarter. We talked the Gronk TD cuts it back to 28-21. 4:20 left in the fourth is the double pass moment.
No, in the third.
In the third. 4:20 something.
Ooh. Coach.
No, I'm not. I mean,
No,
Hey.
Coach knows.
let's just get
Coach
it.
knows, baby.
You made me watch the game again. I got this in my head.
Yeah, no, it's just in there. Everyone talks about these offensive geniuses. They always have this. They know the plays.
And then later, after that, game's tied back up 28-28. Flacco throws a pick, his first pick in a long time in the playoffs,
Yep, Devin.
and couldn't capitalize on it.
Oh,
Punt, give him back the ball. Field goal, down 31-28 at this point. Then in the fourth, get the ball with 10 minutes left, go on a nice 10-play, 74-yard, over 5-minute drive that ends in a JoJo LaFell touchdown, up 35-31.
Yep.
that was the drive of the game.
It was. It was and it was all passing, and I remember the one thing about that drive was we didn't need to do anything in a hurry. So trying to force the ball to go further down the field and take more chances holding on to it longer was not really something that we had to do because we only needed to score once.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, like we can take a 3-step, we can hit something short.
Which goes into play calling, adjusting. He had to adjust. Josh had to adjust from being down 14.
Yep.
The psychological battles of keeping the team that, hey, we're sticking with what we're doing, then being down 14 again. We're trying to fight for time, this, that, to now reverse engineering it to like, all right, now time's on our side. We don't have to rush.
No.
Which is that's
and it helps the protection.
Helps protection.
We're gonna take short profits and do that. And I thought that was a methodical, like you said, 10 plays, 5 minutes. We're just trying to take the profit, keep moving it down the field. And then when we had our one chance, Joe had single coverage. I believe it was cover one, and Tommy made a great throw and JoJo made a great catch. So it was different. The mindset of that drive was like, just keep. We don't need 2 touchdowns.
We already started feeling the momentum coming, though.
Yeah, we did.
And the momentum's real when you feel that.
Yep.
And the momentum fuels the confidence of the unit that's out there.
The loudest I've ever heard that stadium was when you threw the double pass and scored. That I've never heard that stadium. That stadium's been loud a number of times in our lives.
Yeah.
That was the loudest noise that I personally had heard, because it was almost like, we came back once, then we're down 2 touchdowns. And so they're like, oh, no, not again. Then we come back again. And to do it that way with you hitting Dan, I mean, that was as noisy as I think I can ever remember it.
That was a fun play. But it wasn't over. So
Nope.
Well, before we do that, we have players on. We like to walk through like a specific moment, generally from the big game. We've heard Jules' perspective. We've heard Danny Amendola's perspective of that play. I'd love to hear your beat by beat perspective of that double pass play.
So down 7, then they punted, got the ball back. I remember it was ready, and I had already checked with Bill. We're good. He goes, whenever you want to do it, I'm good. And, because I always felt like whenever you're running something that's a little bit screwy, you better check with your big boss and make sure that you're not doing it. He doesn't want you to fake punts and,
Mm-hmm.
So he already signed off whenever you want to do it. And I just didn't feel right about doing it. Not I wanted to get a first down and then do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it like the first play of the drive. I didn't want to do it on 2nd and 8, after the first play of the drive. I wanted to can we get a first down? And then once we get the first down, let's try it. You know what I mean? And so we did. We got a first down, and then I think it was right around midfield, and it was kind of the right time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean acquiesced. He brought the star blitz off the side that we threw the ball to. He gave us. We didn't know we were going to get that, but it made the play better because we only had one guy out there that we needed to block, and it wasn't 2. And so was that Gronk out there?
Gronk.
I think it was Gronk out there, and then Danny did a good job of hesitating and going by. But after I asked him if he needed any lead time, he said no. Bill had already signed off on the whole thing. And I just really wanted to get a first down, so it wasn't so almost desperate.
Mm-hmm.
We got to try this right off the bat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I wanted to kind of
thirsty.
Yeah, get a little bit of a momentum going in the drive, and then give ourselves a chance to see if we could hit it. So, and it was perfect because it was on our sideline. I love doing those things when they're on your sideline.
So when I'm going over emotion, what's going through your mind?
It's not man. And then when I saw the guy start to creep in and he was going to blitz, I'm like, I don't know. We couldn't have drawn up a better, them playing a better defense for the play. It was really just going to matter whether the corner bit it or he didn't.
Yeah.
And, Danny did a good job of bluffing it and then went by.
You mentioned, wanting to do a play like that after first down and doing it on your own sideline. These little details, is that to factor in with your play calling? Is that innate? Is that something with reps? Where do you pick up those little details when it comes into your craft of play calling?
I think it's just probably experience. I think when you're coming off the sideline and the defense is kind of ready for almost anything, I don't think that's a great time to spring your craziest play on them all the time. I think it's almost you run a play, you run a second play, oh, you got a first down. So they're kind of all right, they're just driving the ball. They're just trying to do the same stuff they've been doing, throwing the ball here, dink and dunk, which is what I wanted them to be thinking.
Yeah.
And so we get a first down and we're into a drive. The defensive coordinator, he knows we're not going fast. He's into his drive now. You know what I mean? Meaning Dean's, you kind of get into a rhythm of the drive itself. Each drive is different. And so we first down play, huddle, second down play, first down, go back to the huddle. You know what I mean? So now Dean's in his rhythm too. And so, again, I thought that was a better way to do it, honestly, than go out there and be desperate and try to hurry up and get to it.
And people don't realize these. I don't know how it's in other places, but there's a department that studies and gives everyone around the league what they're doing to our coaches, and they look at it. These guys study it so that you can always see when it's the best opportunity. He's probably seen this situation go down. May not be this specific trick play, but a different trick play that a team off of a big play makes another big play, feels desperate. So these guys, they're always watching the game.
Yep.
And that's how they get their experience. It's not only through coaching it, but watching other coaches. The great coaches will use their experiences and implicate it into their own.
I've called enough plays
Yeah.
and made enough mistakes when I was younger, to like, all right, well, that sucked. You know what I mean? Like, that totally wasn't the right time to do that, and I think learning through your failings as you're going is a helpful thing. So you have a little bit of wisdom, after you've put enough pelts on the wall, where now you kind of know, like, I remember not to do that because of this game, and I tried it and it backfired, And the other thing I would say about this is, and you would attest to this, we practiced those things and we didn't act like they were like so special that it was like impossible for us to succeed at them. I treated those things like almost like a play action pass.
Yeah.
Like a flea flicker or a double pass. Like, if you rep it enough, what's the difference?
Like, other than the ball handling and
but I trusted you enough, and we repped it enough where I was like, I didn't call it and go like this.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen? I called it going, as long as the defense is going to give it to us. I've seen us execute this many times. Look at it. He's got this smile like, yeah, tell him how many times I hit it in practice.
I think I overthrew him 3 or 4 times. Shitty in practice.
You wear your gloves too, right?
Yeah,
he did.
Because he always shits on quarterbacks when they wear their gloves.
Yeah, but I'm not going to take my glove off. And
Well, that's the thing, is you take it off.
Then
These guys
know.
Baltimore might have been perceptive enough to 100%. Go like, hold on a minute here.
He took his fucking glove off.
Yep.
This guy Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Out there gloveless like Vlad Guerrero. Come on now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but to Coach's point, I think that's cool that, like, it's not one of these like super trick plays and like crazy things, because we did the AFC Championship in Arrowhead with Ernie, and there was a flea flicker on that drive in OT.
Yeah.
Like, just a regular play. Like, that's a testament to that, which I think is
that's just practice repetition. And it was like a comfort level for you as the play caller. Like, I don't feel like I'm about to mess the game up, because I've watched us and I trust our guys enough and trust you guys to do it. So, and you don't either.
Yeah.
You're not thinking like, oh God, he called a flea flicker. You're just like, it is what it is.
He's got to block the goddamn safety.
That's right.
Leak out to the flat.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
And yeah, but to get back to this drive, Next Gen Stats will tell us this was the first time a player in a playoff game has had a 9-yard reception and a 51-yard TD in the same drive. It's Next Gen Stats for you guys at home.
Right, Jack with the glaze on.
Jack,
That'll never happen again, ever. That's like Haley's Comet. Nobody's ever going to have a 9-yard reception and a 51-yard TD pass in the same drive, in the same divisional round.
He knows, Josh knows his shit, because I remember it was Indianapolis where I housed a punt, I scored on a slant, and then I almost broke the reverse
in 2012.
Yeah, and I come off to the sideline, and he comes up to me. He goes, "Man, you couldn't get 3 more yards. You would have been the only person in the history of the game at that time.
One, return one, and rush one for a touchdown.
Hidden for the cycle. That would have been sick.
I know.
Didn't McCaffrey just run, catch, and throw recently?
Yeah, it happened.
Last year?
It happened, but at that point it didn't.
Should we put a bow on this bad boy?
Let's put a bow on it.
All right, so Flacco leads him down 9 plays, 53 yards, gets in territory. Duron Harmon with the
Picky.
Punt.
Closer.
A lot of them.
Closer.
He had a lot of that.
Beast,
Closer.
bro. Beast.
Closer.
Flacco gets the ball back, though. Tries a Hail Mary. Unsuccessful. Pats win 35-31.
Logan Ryan.
We're going.
Thank God he pushed the guy at the end.
Smart play.
Yeah, that was the ball's up in the air.
Logan Ryan is a smart football player.
Yep, very.
Anything, just because you're a coach, you're a smart guy. Anything we missed from this game that you did some preparation that you'd want to make sure we hit that we didn't talk about already?
No, I mean, you guys kind of got the idea of the opponent, kind of got our game plan was very unique. You know, we didn't intend on going in there and trying to, mash it at them, running the ball and all that. You know, I don't believe that was the deal. And then the gadget stuff, and we talked about the swings and all that. But, I mean, I knew this. I felt getting ready for this game. They were the 6th seed. I felt like this is probably the best team that we're going to play in the AFC.
In the AFC. Well, that's how it always was with Baltimore.
I did. I felt like I didn't know who would be in the other game. You know, I think Indy beat Denver.
Yeah, Denver wasn't Denver yet.
But this team was really something.
And then Indy was soft as cat shit.
Oh, big time. 45-7. 45-7.
Soft. Put my God, soft.
But back to this one real quick. We mentioned it earlier in this game, the disparity between running and passing. Tom Brady threw the ball 50 times in this one.
50 times.
Flacco threw it 45. So if you like,
bet you that's
how many runs did we run?
they technically 13 because they credit Brady with 6 rushes, but I mean, really 7, like you said.
7 runs.
Brandon Bolden, 3 for 7.
And a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, Brady.
Those were like his most proud moments when he ran those.
Hey, he's a 1,000-yard rusher.
Oh, we know.
Oh, we know.
We heard about it in those walkthroughs night before games with a lacrosse ball.
So was he with the kneel downs? He was deliberately doing those really close so he wasn't losing yards towards the end of his
No.
career?
Was he?
It looked like it.
I don't think he was doing that.
I don't have enough information.
I don't know.
on that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Patriots would go on to beat the soft Indianapolis Colts 45-7. Then go on.
They were really good football teams, but I just was always mad at them. After
I know
this game.
we like to rag on them on this pod,
They're really
but
good
we do
football
it in
team.
jest. We're just joking. The Pats would go on to win their 4th Super Bowl, beating the Seahawks 28-24 with Malcolm Butler's huge interception there at the end. His rookie year, undrafted free agent, and Brady would set the record for most TD.
He went right to Malcolm Butler. He skipped you.
My bad.
That's all good. Malcolm, that was a fucking historic play.
I know. I'm teasing.
That was an unbelievable play.
Oh my goodness!
It changed lives.
I mean, speaking of it, that was the start of like the second
Everything.
part of the dynasty.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Jules.
Yep.
Kicked off Dynasty 2.0.
Now, what were your thoughts going in after we won that first one? Do you think we had the legs to keep doing it?
I mean, you never know.
You never know.
That's hard to say. I mean, I knew that certainly having Tommy, you always had a chance.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew that our, a decent chunk of our core guys were back.
Yeah.
So we were excited to have a shot, but you never know.
I mean, I always tell everyone, I think the best team that I was on was that 15 team.
It was a good team.
That,
we started 10-0.
But it wasn't how we were blowing teams out that
remember
year.
Dion? How
came
good
out.
Dion was right at the beginning of the year.
Then he tore his knee. Soldier tears his arm.
Yeah.
I'd break the foot. But like if we would have stayed, that's what the people don't realize. You have to have that. You have to have the health bug on your side.
You do.
You know, going into
no 2 years are the same like
it's
that.
so hard. That's why this is really impressive. What the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah.
You watch this, and it's hard to bet against them this year. Like, I honestly believe, I know they've had a healthy 2 years. If you think of like their cornerstone players.
Yeah.
And anytime that we didn't do it, it was because we had a cornerstone player go down or something along those lines. And they're in that feng shui of like where we were, where if we're playing our best game, it doesn't matter what it looks like in September. We're just at the point where we're still learning our team because we've lost a bunch of guys or a bunch of coaches. Kind of use that, and then you develop your team in the middle chunk of the season. Then you start sharpening the knives when you get into that 15th, 16th, 17th week, and then by then it's hard to bet against us or them. That's where they're at in their career because of the quarterback they have and
Their program.
They
have a good program. It's been, 10 plus years in the making, and they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
The stability of the organizations, that can get to that point is really a huge advantage for them.
It is. Now, what's more impressive, this double comeback or our Super Bowl comeback?
I think Baltimore's defense, in my opinion, was like I thought Matt Ryan was playing at an exceptional level. The Falcons were a really good team. I don't think their defense, if you put those two defenses on paper, you would say that defense was better than the Baltimore one. It was not.
Yeah.
So doing it against the Ravens in that group with that group of players that they had, that was probably the tougher group. We had to have so many things go right for us, or so many things we had to do without having anything go wrong in the Falcons game.
Yeah.
We just couldn't. We were up against it. It was like, if we make any mistakes here, we're dead.
Done.
You know what I mean? And so the fact that we were able to do that, I think it was probably more unrealistic. I don't know if it was a better one against a better defense.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
I mean, it's still some great problems to talk about. Which comeback was better? Those are great things.
Which one did you think it was?
Falcons for sure.
I mean, it was more
That's
unrealistic.
just because
it was certainly more improbable.
Yeah, so improbable. I never felt like we were out of the Baltimore one, really.
No, but we were up against
I definitely felt like we were out at one point after I dropped that third down, come out halftime, like, fuck me. I'm the rah-rah guy, getting everyone rowdy. I can't even make a goddamn third down catch over the, you know what I mean?
It's going to be a hell of a story.
It's going to be a hell of a story.
I mean, that's your trademark.
It was a hell of a story.
So now you're saying there's a caveat to that?
Nah, I mean,
it's going to be a hell of a story.
I'm a Gemini. I got two people in my head.
I don't know if I believe that. You can't.
You gotta
say
believe.
That.
Gotta believe, baby.
You can't say that. You gotta believe. But I'm doubting if we can do it or not.
Hey, we all have it. See, that's for everyone listening. Even when you believe, you have a little doubt. So when you have that little doubt, it's okay. You can still believe.
Speaking.
Are you coining that phrase?
You see right there? You see that right there?
You're gonna patent that phrase?
I mean, it's already on a fucking T-shirt. That's on a T-shirt.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be a caveat. I mean, who dropping caveat on this podcast?
I like it.
Such a caviar word. Let's grade the game. Name of the game: the double pass, the pass game, the double comeback. Which one do you want to call it,
The
Josh?
double pass.
The double pass game.
Yep.
Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Stakes 0 to 10 of this game. Decimals okay. You have to grade it.
Stakes of the game?
Yeah, we've done Super Bowls. We've done World Cup events. We've done World Series events. Done surfing the biggest waves of all time. I mean,
okay, so I'm going to say it's a divisional game against a 9.
9.
Solid.
So we had done this game before with Gronk. So
Dola.
Jules, with Dola, sorry, with Dola. Jules scored a 7.1. Jack did an 8.0. I did an 8.2. And Dola did a 10.
7.1.
Josh, when you
This
played
was your first. This was your first Super Bowl.
You played
this was
as
your
many
first
important
Super Bowl.
games as I played it. You forget them. You forget them. This is a 7 right here. Star power, Josh.
Star power
1 to
of this
10.
game.
Decimals okay.
Okay, so Reed's out, Ray's out.
Pernell McPhee. Don't forget about.
You're the legend of.
We're just coming up.
Yeah, your legend hasn't really started to grow yet.
We're just.
You're hoping to get a podcast someday. Gronk's pretty much Gronk by now. Tommy's got a lot of star power. I'll go 8.
Jules did a 7.9. Jack did an 8.5. I did an 8.3. Dola did a 6.
Whoa, Dole.
Okay, Dola's being hard grader.
Man.
Not after a 10 on the stakes.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Game played 0 to 10, Josh.
What does this mean?
How the game went.
Oh.
I mean, the excitement for the viewer depends on
This is a 10. This is hard to top this one.
Amen.
What'd I say?
Hard to top this one.
Jules with an 8.1. Jack with a 10. Me with a 9.4. Dola with an 8.
You are. You're
The
tough.
name of the game 0 to 10. 1 decimals okay.
You mean the double pass?
The double pass game.
We're rating the name?
That you rank the name.
8.5.
Very solid.
Jules had a 7.9. Jack had an 8.6. I had a 9.2. And Dola had an 8.0.
What is the total up to?
Let's see. The new score is an
8.4.
8.44.
Where does it go on the charts of games we've
That
done?
ties us with WrestleMania 35 with Becky Lynch.
2 belts.
That you big wrestling fan.
My kids.
And
we grew up that way too.
You love
There was
wrestling.
yeah, I do. There was a big window where I was completely out of the loop.
Yeah.
You know, like after college,
Yeah.
just making it till I had, and then like I have some friends that do it. I enjoy it. It's fun to go to. It's a good show.
It's fun.
Tied
great
for
show.
13th
love
overall.
wrestling.
Tied for 13th overall. Hold on, go back to that. So the number 1 was Super Blood Wolf Moon.
That was a 2018 AFC Championship game.
Remember the moon thing that happened?
Yeah, I do. Where's the Seahawks?
That's number 3.
3.
I was gonna say that definitely.
Statue of Liberty
Okay.
game. Remember that?
I had those 3 as my top 3.
Yes.
In what order?
Someone in COVID asked me that, and I said those were my top 3, but not in that order.
What's your order?
3, 1, 2.
So Butler game, 28-3, or Butler game, Super Blood Wolf Moon game, then 28-3.
That was my top. And then I think this game was 4.
Heck yeah. You remember that Statue of Liberty game? Boise State, Oklahoma?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite game.
Speaking of great trick play calls.
That was awesome.
How many gadgets can you have?
Josh, we missed anything?
No, this is awesome.
You want to plug anything?
A to Z.
You want to plug anything?
No, this is awesome.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
That was so fun.
This was fun
Really
to go
fun.
down memory lane.
Yep.
And thank you again, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you, big guy.
Man, that was a fun episode. Brought me down memory lane. What'd you guys think about old Josh?
Love Josh. We were just talking, our first head coach.
First head coach. Yeah. We didn't really talk about it though.
No.
Didn't
We're
want to
in
get
the
into
OC
it because
days.
it's a little raw. It's still a little fresh. It's like a fresh wound.
I'll have a bit of a hand up moment on this episode. I'm pretty anti redoing games that we've already done.
Yeah.
Because there's literally thousands of games out there that we haven't done yet. So when he came back organically with doing this game, I was skeptical. I was like, okay, well, we've already done it with Dola, whatever. But I think his perspective on it was awesome. It was cool getting the coach's perspective on it. So hand up, I was wrong.
100%.
Josh was so cool, man.
Yeah.
And so gracious with
Smart
his time.
guy.
So smart. Remembered it. And he did the Peyton Manning. He went back to the notes. He watched the tape. He came ready. Still had his game plans.
Oh,
that was
man.
awesome.
I wish, when we started getting into the craft of play calling, and he was like, I wanted to do it after first down, and I want to do it here and after here. Oh, man, we could have had an hour conversation of just that, because that was just, I wanted to know more and more about that. But
I need him to help me with my college football 25 play calling.
I know. I wonder what playbook he uses.
I wonder.
Because I used to use, when I go and play Madden, I would use like our playbook, even if I was using a different team, because I knew our offense. And sometimes there's a couple years where I was like, oh, this it's kind of what we do. And then there's someone I'm like, what the fuck? I played it recently. I was like, didn't know the offense.
I got to say, nothing good has ever come from me being in the pistol formation in college football 25. I hate the pistol. Not a pistol guy.
It's supposed to be better for the run.
I know, but I just can't. Every time I call,
Makes it more even.
I could see that.
Makes it more even for the offensive line for like shades. Because when you have the guy behind him on the offset on one side, you can eliminate certain things.
That's a good way to look at it. I didn't even really think about that.
Well, that's why people try the pistol. That's why people like the pistol, because it's deception of air side.
That is true.
So then you could cheat over those gaps not cheat, but you can gap them differently and just have this guy catch the edge on for the pitch.
isn't that just the old I formation?
That's
Just
why
the shotgun,
But
yeah.
that's what the pistol's shotgun with the guy behind you. But it is like I formation and for like where you get the even box for both sides.
God forbid a college quarterback be under center these days. God forbid.
God. What?
They're never under center in college.
Endangered species. Is
I
there
know.
any?
That's what I'm saying.
Army.
All right,
that-
let's do
and that-
this. Let's do this. This is a 2-hour episode already. Let's.
In honor of Josh and his patented
He's known for wearing visors.
known for wearing visors, we're gonna go and we're gonna build the ideal football coach look from head to tippity toe.
Just a little context of this new post guest segment. We're basically going to assemble we're going to use inspiration from some of the most notable coaching attire pieces of their wardrobe to kind of compile one super fit. So think Pete Carroll's Monarchs, think Kyle Shanahan with the flat brim custom Giants hat that no one else wears, but he has.
Niners.
Niners.
With the small Niners.
With the small letters. Sorry, I'm thinking San Francisco Giants. Bill Belichick with the cutoff hoodie. Maybe
Kanye low key made a collection after this.
Oh, damn.
I'm telling you.
No.
He cut it. A lot of that shit looked like Bill's shit. I went in there after Kanye dropped. It was in like 16 or something. It was tight.
Yeah. I mean, give Billy a little
Kanye
residual.
and Bill kind of dress alike on the sideline. If you think about it.
I heard recently that maybe some of Kanye's fashion sense was coming from Adam Sandler. I think I saw a clip of that.
I just love seeing Adam Sandler on social media playing randomly in parks.
Sandler in the wild.
In the Adam Sandler outfits.
New special's out probably when this comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, new special. Everyone go check it out. But let's
Love
get back to
Sandler.
our build
plug.
coach.
All right, let's build a coach, baby. I like that naming of it. That's perfect.
Well, we all know creative player in Madden.
Yes.
This is creative coach.
Creative
just look
coach,
wise.
baby. So we're starting at the dome, baby. Headwear. What are we rocking on the head? Are we going hat? We going visor? We going nothing? We going beanie? Headset? I mean, you got to have the headset. Fedora, full on old school. Yeah, Vince Lombardi.
Eddie Munster, Widow's Peak, just beautiful hair like
A Ben
Vrabel.
McAdoo situation?
Yeah, the full Ben McAdoo.
Or what Eberflus right now. You see
Oh
Eberflus?
my gosh, bro.
Coach Eberflus got a city cut, moved to Chicago. Wife made him cut his hair, got a city cut and a little beard action.
Man, Chicago looks good.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
I got a
It
whole
might just
like
be the
segment
Hard Knocks
on
on
Hard
paper they look good.
Yeah.
But everyone looks good on paper.
Right.
That's why you play the games.
Are we going full Eberflus and getting a city cut with the?
Nah,
with
no
the
You
trim
gotta
up
go.
hair.
You gotta go a hat of some sort.
Yeah, I like freaking Shanahan's hats
right.
because of
Custom hat.
it's our new age cool
Yeah.
coach.
The
That's
custom
new age
hat.
cool coach.
All right.
Fedora's like 32. That's cool for like going to the plane.
On the torso, baby. The meat of your fit here.
The
A
torso.
big piece. Are we going old school windbreaker? We going Vrabel cut off windbreaker with the long sleeve tee underneath to show off the guns?
I
What are we
like the
thinking?
bill, dog.
I like the bill too.
I like the bill cut hoodie.
I love it.
What
it.
about a Jim Tressel sweater vest?
Oh, hate
No.
it.
Hate it.
Hate it.
No, it's too clean cut.
Absolutely not.
90s
clean cut.
Schottenheimer starter jacket.
I like that.
Those are
I
tight.
will say I like
mean,
that.
the starter coats by everyone
Yes.
are cool, but that's for a cold game. We're talking about a spring game.
Okay.
Very
spring
much
game?
so.
Okay.
No, or a fall game.
What about a nice, like, fashionable, like, up to date windbreaker a la Pete Carroll? It's almost like a golfing situation.
Yeah. Like a QZ, like a quarter zip, like
This ain't golf.
it's a little too ubiquitous. I'm
Okay.
How about
Look at the Belichick. Like, as much as we could all make fun of it, like that's like timeless. That's like because he used to do that shit at the Giants.
Yep.
Oversized, because those old sweat suits, the old baggy ones, when you used to cut them off, like that was your way of differentiating yourself because we all wore the same one.
Amen. Add a little
You know what I
swag
mean?
to it.
So like that was like he kind of did that.
Early drip. Plus your hands are free. You're not messing with your sleeves.
And then plus
you got a pocket.
And you also got a hood just in
Yes.
case you want to go hood over hat. Because look, even Shanahan does hood.
Yep.
See, Shanahan does hoodie with jacket over open jacket, which is cool.
I like having a hood. A little versatility there.
Bill looks like he should be in the weight room, bro.
Okay, we're going
I want my
Bill?
coach to look like he should be in the weight room.
We're
Yes.
going Bill.
We're going Bill.
I'm going Bill. All
We
day.
also missed the Bum Phillips cowboy hat in the headwear section. Just saying. We should pick. We were right with the Phillips or the Shanahan flat bill, but cowboy hat is a vibe.
you gotta be coaching in the state of Texas.
Okay, pants. This is only one answer.
Only Texas.
Yes, only Texas.
Pants?
See, I would say
I don't like khakis.
if they're going to be khakis, I want some big old pleats in there. I need those boys pleated. I'm talking Charlie Weiss, Pete Carroll, circa Notre Dame, USC, Bush push game pleats. But with the Bill hoodie, I don't like it.
Oh, now
I don't like it. I want some wind pants.
Do we have to be like a nice look, top to bottom, or are we picking the best thing forehead for turn?
No,
We're building a look.
We're building our guy.
Building a look. Okay.
Yeah, so it all has to go together. I think it needs to.
I'm going with like
pair.
a baggy windbreaker,
You read my
like
mind.
rain gear.
Yep. Team
For
issue.
pant?
Yeah. All day.
They,
Baggy.
they have that
I want some
little
bunch at the bottom.
baggy, so I can bust a sag. I got area where I can keep my flag. I don't have a small ass little because if I'm
No
gonna keep it in my
cuffs, no
sock,
cuffs, baby.
I don't need a tapered ass thing where I can't get my hand under my shit because my calf's so big. I want some baggy.
You gotta hide your flag.
I
your
got
red
pack
flag.
pockets.
What about this take? Just I'd like to hear your opinion. Here's a team that was our bit of a rival in high school, Wacona. Fuck Wacona. But all their coaches would have matching short cargo shorts with calf-high black socks the whole season. Even if it was snowing, the whole coaching staff.
I'm not sure I've ever heard
Cargo
a
shorts
lamer
with
look.
black socks. They
They deserve to be fired as an entire
That's a
staff.
bro staff.
The whole staff.
That's a bro staff.
What?
So, bro,
That is insane.
The whole coaching staff. Like
I got
like
something I want
everybody.
to add to my hoodie.
Okay.
The baggy hoodie. I want to put my belt on over my hoodie.
Ooh.
So it looks like I got a tool belt, but it's my pack
It's
so
your
I can talk, my radio.
Now, we didn't talk
like
about
that.
color. Gray? I mean,
What?
there's red, there's blue for the hoodie.
Hoodie. I'm not opposed to mixing it up, but we will say, as men that keep track of Bill's fits from his coaching staff, gray or blue is the best. Red, bad things happen.
I personally like the like 3-year-old faded blue,
Yes.
like dog shit blue that has been maybe dried 600 times.
That thing has seen some things.
And where you get like sometimes you pull out of your pocket, you'll pull out the lint thing or the refreshener sheet.
Yeah.
You put in your damn thing. Oh shit! That means it's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, you find an extra 20 in the pocket, you're good, bro.
You're good. I want 1,000. That thing needs to be dried 1,000 times, and it's got to be 2 sizes too big.
Dog shit blue.
Would you ever cut a hole in your hoodie pocket for headphones, like in high school?
No,
iPod in the pocket, and you have a hole to do headphones.
I like to listen to my brain think when I was lifting.
Facts. I want
So
to
you guys have
my
never
clothing.
listened to headphones.
I never maimed
Even
my
though
No,
clothing.
Ryan's-
I didn't run with headphones on when I was younger, and then in the weight room, you got fucking weight room radio.
Tunes blasting.
I'm
He's
sweat
self-motivated.
flying.
I'm self-motivated. And when I used to do my drills and stuff,
Self-motivated. I've seen you watch highlight reels of yourself working out.
yeah,
I guess that is self-motivated.
That is
self-motivated.
self-motivate. Yeah,
Have I
that's
done
like
that?
All right, footwear.
full
here.
inception, bro. Full inception.
He incepted me. I'm gonna do it now tonight. I need to motivate myself. Go look at some. Go look at some.
Watching clips of the podcast.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're building this fit is coming together very nicely.
Footwear.
I hate it.
Bro, I'm going Monarchs, man. I kind of think it's
Hey,
one
those
of the
Pete
few
Carroll, those
Yeah.
Pete
the
Carroll
Pete
Monarchs.
Carroll
with
custom
the
Monarchs are
Pete
fresh.
neon.
With the Volt swoosh, they're fire.
You could go Ernie taped up Nikes.
Taped up Nikes that because he likes the Reeboks. We're
Ernie's a
going with
man
those.
after our heart.
We're going with the Ernie specials.
Let's go with the Ernie
the
special.
taped up Nikes because we like Reeboks more.
Yeah, there you go.
Taped up Reeboks. We're Reebok men on this podcast, baby. And then just to throw a little flair in here, a little bit of personality to it. We've already done that with our hoodie, shown that with some other elements of our fit. But any accessories, we talking pencil behind the ear a la Matty P. We chewing on anything. We got gum going, Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll gum.
Do we have
I got a full tin. I got a fanny pack with 10 tins in the back of it, and that's where I might keep my challenge flag. And I'm just gonna have like you have a guy that keeps you
the hold me back guy?
The hold me back guy.
Yep.
I'm gonna have a hold me back guy, and then I'm gonna have a dip guy.
Can I pitch one to the team? What about a Mike McDaniel vape?
What do you mean?
Ripping vapes on the sideline?
Get that out of here. No place for that in the NFL, baby.
No place, bro.
No place for that. Not in my book.
Not between the lines.
Is there any other accessories? What else is there? A big play sheet.
A huge, yeah. You want a
play
Waffle
sheet.
House menu play sheet, or are we talking
Yeah.
Bill Belichick folded up, a little piece of paper, or do we just
Fucking note time.
no. straight origami status?
Coaches dipping on the sideline?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's signs it's illegal to do that. By the way, I go to a Dodgers game, and you got to go through metal detectors. Cool, awesome, love it. I like safeties over everything. Pull out my tin, my wallet, and walk through. They're like, you can't have the tin.
Oh, that was right. That was the other week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're
I was there with you.
You can't have a tin and I'm like, I'm at a baseball game. What do you mean I can't have a tin? They're like, it's banned in the stadium. You can't have any tobacco products. I go, we're at a baseball game. I mean, isn't this America? Like, no, I go, are you, what? So they made me throw my dip away. So as he was going to throw it, I took one dip, I put it in, and I walked through. See, fucking guy.
I thought this used to be
probably
America's
It is so
pastime,
hard
baby.
to
You should
eat a
just
dip
walk
and
up to the dugout and be like, "Yo, anyone got any tins?" And you just
I think
get
it's
it from
illegal in
them.
there too.
I think it's illegal.
Yeah.
You're telling me these guys are playing 162 games and there's not a single guy with a fat lip in?
I don't know, man.
I think it's big sunflower seed and big bubble gum industry has pushed them out. I think.
No.
Nah, just kidding.
So what's our accessory?
It's a healthy.
Hey,
Are we
Otani,
missing
can I
any
get a dip?
Hey, and put a parlay in for me, bud. Bro, that game was great. That was a great game.
That's fun.
We missing
Oh
any
my God.
accessories here?
Accessories. Challenge flag in sock.
Yeah.
We'll have intercom belt.
Around the hoodie,
Yeah,
so we can see it.
around
Full
hoodie,
Bob the Builder,
so I can see my side pack,
tool belt.
tool belt. May have a couple things on there.
We got a dip guy. We got a hold me back guy.
Hold me back guy, dip guy.
We're not going full Waffle House play sheet, are we?
Oh, definitely.
We
I
are?
wanna
Okay,
see-
big
I
boy.
want both. Because if I'm head coach,
Laminate.
How is it? Is it a fixed? Is it one of those?
oh,
some
it's
guys
definitely
got the,
connected
like-
to me. It's connected to the tool belt.
oh man,
Okay.
Connected to the tool belt
Is it
just in
like the
case I want to
drawstring?
use my hands as the motherfucker ref.
yes.
You drop it, it's connected to your tool belt. So then I can just be like, what the fuck are you doing? Can you see? Can you see? When'd you get your eyes checked, bud?
What about how you feel about the Microsoft Surface?
Hey, oh shit, wait. Yeah, all right, Jen, I'll look at play 39. She got it right there. Yeah. Right there.
Fully elastic.
Open that thing up. Play 39. All right, wait, that's offense. All right.
Looking like you're reading the app side of the menu. Oh my god, full Cheesecake Factory
Full
mode.
Cheesecake Factory menu.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, surfaces. We're breaking about 3 of those a game.
Oh.
Buy
Guys,
Microsoft stock.
we got
We're
Surface.
smashing those bad boys. I'm gonna stand on the table here real quick
Yeah.
as we're wrapping up this fire fit and say I absolutely hate anyone post Lombardi era that wears a suit or a tie or any version of that on the sidelines. I hate it.
Who's done that?
Like Al Golden at Miami was doing it.
What?
I gotta
Like,
say, man,
literally,
I
like, not
love
that
it.
long ago.
Mike Nolan for the 49ers, Jack Del Rio
Mike
for
Nolan
the Jags.
for the Niners.
I
tried
love it because that's fucking football. When you wear the coat and the breath and you got the fedora, these guys wearing like windbreakers and shit.
Nah,
I don't
dog.
know.
I want my coach in Vans.
Got my Vans on, but they look like sneakers. Yeah, I mean, I can't do it anymore. It was a time and place. Let's leave it there.
Hard disagree.
All right.
You got to be Mike Ditka to be able to wear a sweater vest high. And he was a badass football player. Okay,
Crew
he can't
cut,
be some
shades.
dude that just to Josh's point, D3 dude loves the game of football. You can't be going in there trying to set a trend on how to fucking dress.
No. Come on now.
But if you're Mike Ditka and you want to wear a tie, I mean,
When you got it like that,
I
maybe.
think he's eaten glass before.
Facts.
He can do it. I think I saw it on a YouTube video.
Yeah, I mean, if you got your own steakhouse,
Mike
you can do whatever you
Ditka
want.
ate glass. Look it up.
One
That's how
more
tough he
thing.
is.
Where are we landing on sunglasses? Glasses, no glasses.
I'm not a sunglass guy, dude. Like,
Bill never wore shades, did he?
not on the. You got to be able to see now. If I had crazy, like if I'm in Miami and it's, I don't know, maybe that, like if you get sun in your eyes.
When they're putting you on that visitor sideline.
Actually, I think I'm gonna go with Google Glass. I'm gonna go with Google Glass so I could maybe get like yardage stuff in my thing. So when I'm looking at the sideline, I can see where the first down, where the drive started. It's like marked in my fucking goggles.
Google Glass,
Or is
down
it-
in distance.
I want a VR thing.
VR.
I want so then I can get a better look. I want a camera on the ball. So then if I'm the coach, I can see where the quarterback's throwing, what like in the pile. I want that. It's probably
First head coach rock VR headset.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Oh
so
man, that was awesome.
give us the rundown. The
This full fit coming to a sideline near you. Shanahan flat bill, Bill Belichick cutoff hoodie. We got our rain gear windbreaker pants, not tapered, loose at the bottom. A little bit of bag to them. Ernie taped up Reeboks on the feet. We got tins around our belt. We got a dip guy. We got a hold me back guy. We have our play sheet that is Cheesecake Factory large, fully laminated. It's got multiple fold outs attached to the belt, affixed, so that when we are letting the refs have it, it does not fall into the ground. And no shades. That's about it, I think. That wraps
Did
it
we
up.
put Air Monarchs?
And we got the Ernie taped up Reeboks.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Good. No, taped up Reebok.
yeah, taped up Reeboks.
Reebok.
I mean, just an all-time fit.
Dude, I'm dialing up some crazy plays.
And we're wearing a VR headset. Duh, sorry.
VR
We got
headset.
the implant.
Yeah. And we got a what is it? The thing that Elon cyber chip in my what is it called?
Yeah, is it Cyberchip?
No.
Hold on.
What's it called? Neuralink. So I put the Neuralink in.
So you remember it.
I basically put Ernie's brain in a Neuralink, and I'm gonna put it in the back of my neck.
Right in the cerebellum. Right? I don't know.
Serotonin.
Serotonin. We'll be having tons of that after we score touchdowns and
After we do this live show this week. Let's go.
Wait, live show was finished by the time. I hope you had an awesome time and everything
Live
was
show.
great.
Serotonin levels are
I'll be
high.
wearing that merch.
Hella merch. Well, that was a hell of a game. That was a hell of an episode. Thanks again to Josh. That's been another episode of Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember
and review.
Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the hotline. It's been super fun. 424-291-2290. See you guys next week.
Later.
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.